What's going on, Apex Legends? It's Marcus once again, back at it with another video, and today I've got my friend Nate here.
What's up?
And we are going to talk about Season 5 and then make a tier list video. Warning, it's going to be very long because we're going to talk not just about the tier list, but like buffs and certain things we do to each character. And we both have very differing opinions about this tier list. It's not going to be the same, so we didn't like talk about it ahead of time and come up with a unanimous list. You're going to hear some difference in opinion and all that, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. And so I'm going to let you take it off. Season 5, what are your thoughts?
Starts with Season 5. Yeah, Season 5 is great, and then it's awful. Okay. It's great because I love the map changes. Okay, this is by far my favorite map. Third parties are still a little strong. That's an issue. I think that just might be an issue in Apex Legends in general. I can't put my finger on it. It's a weird place Apex is in with third parties because if the maps are too big, then you have like 10 minutes of doing nothing. And I kind of thought like, okay, well, Fortnite, the map was big, but there's always something to do, right? You had to farm resources. You had to, get out your pickaxe and farm resources or something, or you build up to get high ground somewhere. So like you were actively doing something in Fortnite. So if you had downtime, you didn't feel as bored. Yeah. But in Apex, when you have downtime, you're literally just like, what am I doing? Yeah. Like you're so bored, bro. Yeah. And so it's a mix between like needing to keep the map smaller so you can be engaged. But then if it is too small, you get done with a fight, and next thing you know, it's third party central.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, like, this is the crazy part because like I think that first off, they make Kings Canyon smaller, and I feel that I'm not getting third party as much as I was before. But I think that's also due to map design a little bit. Yeah. Like they've made it so that it's harder to just directly third party people.
I think it's also POI as well. I feel like there's more good spots to land now, so people are landing more spread out than before. Yep. I feel like. And then
that could definitely be it. And my solution to that is make the map bigger. Like World's Edge is my favorite Apex map, especially when they split it. And they broke up Capital City into Fragment. Yeah. That variant is my favorite map for Apex. I love the city buildings. I love how one building can have 4 floors and you can have multiple teams in ranked occupying multiple floors of a building. Like that that's just so amazing.
Dude, I would have loved World's Edge with 20 teams of 4 or 25 teams of 3. Just like with 20 more players on World's Edge would have been fantastic. Because then what you're talking about, having even more teams in those city dynamics, would be crazy, bro.
And then, but like for me, like I think about like doing that with Kings Canyon, and the problem with that is, the other day I spent 10 minutes running around looking for the nearest gunshot.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what to do. What I can say though is that like, map design definitely matters on impact of third parties, and like they took a step in the right direction for Kings Canyon in my view with the changes they made to the map to compensate for more buildings to get into, more places to hold and lock down, not as much open space. Like a great example of this is next to where the old Skull Town used to be, that little place with a bird cage that had like a respawn beacon at it. That entire area from there to Bunker was just basically open, and now that's
even buildings and rocks and stuff. They did a lot of natural stuff. They had a lot more trees, foliage, rocks, and boulders. Like I was watching, I think it was Reps. TSM Reps playing with a couple people the other day. I think one of them was the number 2 ranked Wraith in the world, and they literally were playing like some trees and rocks that were not there before.
Yep.
And in the previous season, if they would not have had a Gibraltar, they would have been dead. Period. End of discussion. But they were able to actually play that, and I think they're running what, in my opinion, right now is the meta, which is Wraith, Watson, Caustic, and they were able to run that and play those rocks and trees and end up winning the match. And you wouldn't have done that last Kings Canyon at all.
Right, and like I think that another thing about the map changes, aside from the visual updates, which the quality of life in that was just incredible. They gave
the lighting's fantastic.
Yeah, bro. So much more richer color and not as dull.
They put the World's Edge lighting on the map, I think is what they did.
And like just basically now you have other places to go. A lot of the map's still the same, but the differences, even in like the small differences in each area on the map, make the difference of the map right now. And like, I, even though I don't like Kings Canyon, not nearly as much as like World's Edge, I think this was a step in the right direction. It just, there needs to be more. Like, it could be the best map if they made a couple of the sections, like if they took out a couple sections, like Slums needs to be like redone into a small city. Like if they did that, I would just, like that would just be amazing to me.
Definitely, yeah, Slums. I hate Slums.
It's
you basically already, Slums is like a diet swamp.
Yep. And
it's just like a worse swamp.
And Swamps is amazing. Like,
Swamps is fine because I mean, you literally have high ground right next to it, right? So like, you loot Swamps and it's decent loot. Like Swamps, in my opinion, is kind of ass to like hold, right? Because you can get shot from the top and stuff. Mm-hmm. But there's at least like Repulsor and Hydro is right next to Swamps. Easy rotation. You need to get high ground. Some of the ending circles in Swamps is nuts. Because there's all these different buildings you're trying to portal to and get high ground on, but you can't get high ground because you get beamed, but you want to get high ground because you can shoot people underneath. But then you have Slums, which is just like worse than it, but then it's also a worse rotation. Because like you from Swamps, you're rotating in. Slums, you either have to rotate out to artillery and then in, or you have to try to rotate in to run out, but run out's not really in either.
Yeah, and
so it's like the only thing you really do is like pit. But then Pit's not great loot. Like, you're not going to get any better loot from Pit than you got from Slums. So, like, Slums is ass, bro. They need to put something in there.
Well, and I'll also add to that. Like, Slums has a propensity to not be good because of all the buildings being one level. Like, there's no multi-dimensional. That's what, in my opinion, my favorite section of the map is Swamps. I love wooded areas for first-person shooters like this. And I think in a BR, like, the concept of, like, a woodland / swampy, like, you know, terrain is amazing. But like, kind of to what he was saying, like if you think about like an end circle in Swamps, there's the top of the building on some of the buildings, there's the second floor, there's the primary floor, and then there's the water underneath that building. Yeah. And you can hold multiple levels of that.
Dude, yes.
And that is what to me makes Swamps like one of the best areas.
That's the reason you love World's Edge too. Yeah. Because you have 4 buildings and all this stuff.
4 floor buildings.
So when you have verticality, it adds more depth to possible gunfights and especially ending circles. When I've seen people end in Swamps talking about, oh, we can play top. No, we can't. There's a team over here, lasering us. We can play inside. No, they have caustic. Okay, then we're going to have to play underneath. Fuck. Yeah. Like, it gives that level of tension. And, like, in a gunfight moment, like, especially at high competitive levels, being able to adapt and make a decision like that, well, when you have more options of what you can play and what other teams can play, it makes it more interesting. It gives you more like panic type of like adaptation into a gunfight than, oh, there's a bunch of open area. Well, we either need a portal to a rock and take a force of fight and just roll the dice on it, or we need a Gibraltar. And if we can't do one of those two things, then we're out of options. Right. And it's just not as interesting to watch or play.
And that's why, and so exactly to what you just said, that's why Swamps is good and Slums is not. Like, there's no multidimensionality to Slums whatsoever. All the buildings are like one floor, the top of that.
Like one little hut that's got like a freaking 3-cog and like a gray shotgun bolt in it. Like the looting in Slums is so rough, man.
And then Caustic just gasses you out of your one floor building anyway.
And there's, like I said, there's nowhere to rotate. Because at least from Swamps, you can rotate in. Like you're rotating in. I also have labs to the right. So depending on the area of Swamps you land at, you can rotate 2 labs and take labs.
Well, so to the, actually, I'll help you with that. So like even that, like to the right now to the right of it is, or whatever. The rig is to the right. Labs in front of you. And then Hydro right here.
Left to middle as well.
And then far left, you can actually enter into the back of Repulsor.
Yeah.
So
you have so much you could do, and then freaking with Slums, like it's literally land Slums and you go to Pit. You don't have to. You're not going to go to artillery from Slums. You're either going to go to containment, and containment's going to be looted,
or there's going to be fighting there.
Yep. Or you're going to go into Pit and go somewhere from Pit, and Pit probably won't be looted, but you're not going to get any better loot from Pit most likely, other than if you got effed on your shields from slums, which happens a lot, and you get a blue or purple armor in the middle of the pit.
And then
that's it.
You could rotate run. And here's the thing: you could rotate runoff, but the problem with runoff is you have to go uphill. If there's a team there, like you don't have high ground. It's at the back end of the map, so odds are you're probably rotating in the wrong direction. You're maybe rotating on a horizontal line, but you probably need to go forward, inward to the map more. And again, it's not like runoff is known for its great high tier loot. It's just a bigger area where the loot pool is average and there's more guns.
That whole corner of the map is ass, to be honest. Yeah, it really is.
It's
bro.
terrible.
I hate that corner. I never land that corner ever. The only time I ever do anything is if I'm landing that corner, I'm learning artillery, and I'm rotating artillery down into what's called diving board, but also it's actually called 82, which is that little area right there in front of artillery. So if I'm landing artillery, I'm hoping a team lands artillery, I'm killing that team to get some RP, and I'm rotating to 82, looting 82, and then from then I'm looking at circle and rotating from there. That's the only time I land in that corner of the map. Teams that land slums are doing one of two things. They're taking a Pathfinder to hit the survey beacon that's usually at slums, and or they're playing a Gibraltar and trying to play edge, which good luck now with the Gibraltar nerf. Or they're rolling their dice and hoping they get a slum circle and they can just play top on that hill.
Yeah,
that's it. Playing that playstyle is not fun at all.
Nope. And I'll also say the other thing is every area around that you'd rather land. I would rather land at the small hut right in front of the respawn beacon outside of pit. And pit itself, and then the small little bridge thing right next to bunker. Then I would land in slums or runoff.
That's actually a strat that I saw in competitive, I guess not competitive tournaments right now, but I saw in ranked, and I can't remember who I was watching, but they had 2 land pit, 1 land at that building you're talking about.
Yep.
So they did a split 2-1, and I think the one who landed there was the Wraith. And so this way then they could maximize their looting, and then the 3 of them could go from there based upon where they needed to.
Yep.
And that was, I tell you what, they looted all of that shit in 30 seconds and probably got better loot from that than they would have got slums, and it would have took them 2 minutes to loot slums. Because also, if you're landing slums, you need to loot the top houses at the back.
Yep.
And so someone has to land at those houses, but the issue with that is they're so far away from slums that if a full team of Akatsuki lands slums with you and they have a 3v2, you are losing.
Yep.
So you can't afford to do that. You can afford to do that in pit with the 2-1 split there because you're so close and you can disengage because there's multiple disengagement possibles. Yep. You can't do that if you land slums 2v3 and the other team has a Cossack. You are dead.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's so sad to say, but you're rotating that out of that into better areas other than runoff. Like runoff could have literally a hot zone on it, and I still don't think the loot in that's good. It's like.
And also you have to loot the back, which there is a redeploy there, I guess, but still. And that's the other thing, you're talking about landing pit or runoff. You have third-party potential access closer to artillery or closer to bunker. You're not third-party anything from slums. The only thing you might third-party is you're not going to get to artillery in time. You're going to have to meet them at 82, and you might be able to fight at 82, but they might have better loot than you. And at that point, you might get third party from containment or it's just not bro, slums is awful. I hate it so much. I've complained about slums so long. I had an ending circle in slums one time when I was at barely a diamond 2 and I was playing Wraith and there was 8 or 9 teams on circle 5 in slums and it was the worst experience in my entire fucking life on Apex Legends, bro. It was so terrible. There's nowhere to go. There's no verticality to play. It was literally, do I want to force a fight at this small hut or this small hut? I had to pour us to a pipe, and we got third, I think. But we literally just ratted out in a pipe, by a pipe in a bush. It was so bad.
And to top that off, it's there's in high level rank, there's 5 or 6 people in ending circles, and the third party. I mean, this happened yesterday in my rank game. Certain buildings, right? Third parties in those buildings, you just die. There's just nothing.
There's no disengagement. We're talking about in Capital or World's Edge, you can disengage to a different floor, Cossack, Watson, maneuver
out of a building,
whatever. You can't do that in World's Edge, bro.
Yeah, think about this.
King's Canyon.
Yeah. Well, think about this. You exit. So, let's say that you get shot at the top of the building. Your Pathfinder, you drop to the bottom.
Yeah.
You run around the zip line that goes all the way to the top floor. They chase you down. You run out the building. You hold the door. They come to kick the door. You zip all the way up to the top. Now you have top. You have high ground, right?
Yeah, you got classic.
Nothing of what I just talked about exists in slums, in anything that has to deal with, I mean, other than in swamp where you could kind of do that, but like not really. But like none of that really even exists in Kings Canyon.
No.
And like that's what they need to do for slums.
They need to pull a SpongeBob. Why don't we pick up Lava City and just move it somewhere else? Just take Lava City.
Bottom.
Yes, just pick up Lava City, put it in slums.
Yeah,
bro. Oh my god, bro.
That'd be so hype.
That would be sick, bro. Like, I don't think that will happen. But if I literally got on tomorrow and saw Lava City was at slums, I would lose my shit. I'd be hitting up my boy right here like, dog, we about to play right now.
Yes,
like,
we are.
Oh my gosh, bro. That would change so much stuff for the map. Like, but so that corner of the map, like we said, long video.
Yeah.
15 minutes on one corner of a map.
Yeah.
Bottom left corner. Do we like what we did with Skulltown?
Yeah. So for starters, Skulltown needed to be removed. It was a cancer landing location.
It's also like slums almost.
It's literally actually just like slums, except for like a cross shape with a bunch of degenerate bone and canyon placement for people to get up on top of and laser you from with no chance of contesting whatsoever.
Oh god, pre-nerf Pathfinder on that was insane.
Yeah, especially with like G7s. Like in a game where G7s and Hemlocks are what they are right now, like canyons and bones were not okay, bro.
Pre-nerf G7, pre-nerf Pathfinder on Skulltown literally could 3v1 constantly.
It's ridiculous.
It was awful.
And like
awesome. Awful.
And what they've done now, what they've added with like the kind of like skull rig and the just complete removal of Thunder and that Skull Town area and that zip line up that allows you like a jump tower access, into either, is it Gauntlet? I don't think, like
Gauntlet's like behind it.
Yeah.
Or to the side.
Yes.
Side behind, yeah.
Yeah, that area, or you can just take the jump tower again and then go further into the map. Amazing. I think, like, it added extra mobility to that side of the map, which it needed. And to top it off, like, again, I'll just say this. My opinion, the best place to land is containment. They added containment to that side of the map.
Pretty much.
That's exactly what I think of that area. And, like, that, in my view, was nothing but Buku Bucks marks on like thumbs up, and the entry points to the various edges of the map. So like if you think about it, there's a ramp that leads down toward Market in the cave, and then there's a side entry point that leads you more toward artillery.
You can take a jump tower, 2 jump towers. There's actually 3. You can jump tower skip 2 artillery. There's another reason. Why would you ever want to land top left corner? I can take 3 jump towers and push your ass. What do you want to take to push mine? You have 1 jump tower in slums, which is going to get you to the entrance of pit.
It's runoff.
Yeah, well, no, that won't get you to runoff. There's 1 in slums. That's right by the hill.
Yeah.
That will get you to the entrance. The entrance of pit is where that gets you, and it gets you to the fences that start to lead to runoff.
Yeah.
And then there's 1 in the back of runoff that will get you to the front of runoff. What the hell are we talking about here, dude? This dog's not gonna hunt. This dog ain't even alive, dog.
Maybe a little bit toward artillery.
But yes, like on that one side, like the in my opinion, the worst side to try a third party.
Yeah.
Because there's that little god spot right there, and there's more high ground. There's like multiple high grounds. That's the worst side of third party, unless you're getting high ground, which in that case, I don't know if that can get you to high ground. I don't think that balloon can even get you on top.
It doesn't get you to the
Bro, that side's ass, dog.
So bad.
Oh my god, dude.
And at least for the lack of jump towers on the other side, the new additions with like the charge towers, and we'll get to this in a second when we talk about our tier list. At least you have all these like amazing things going for it on the other side. Like the fact that there's 3 charge stations in one area on the opposite side of the map has made completely retransformed relay and water treatment on the side of the map. And we'll talk about that more.
Top right is me all day.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that when we get to
I love bottom left. Bottom left is fantastic. The only thing I would change is I would make it so that Gauntlet has a couple buildings on each side. Because Gauntlet's like, its loot is so spread out.
Oh,
That's my
yeah.
only issue is like, so I like the idea of the top, like the two, bunker type things in the top, and then risking it all for a armor in the middle, possibly. I think they changed the ratios, which wasn't. Yeah, which I think they changed the ratios on that. And they didn't mention it in the patch notes. I feel like because I've been getting a lot of blue big packs over there. But I would add like a couple small containment style huts that you see in the rig. That rig, the rig how it's got like 3 small ones.
Mm-hmm.
I would add the small one of those on each side, because if you I did this the other day. I landed a Gauntlet and I had to risk my luck on the 3 bins, and I got no weapon.
Oh yeah.
From the 3 bins, I was dead. That's it. I literally was like, okay, there's people landing here, and I had no disengagement. I was I think I was playing Caustic. What am I gonna do to disengage with Caustic? I'm just gonna throw Caustic traps everywhere and hope for the best.
Yeah.
I got white armor, no weapon. I'm completely screwed. And where am I supposed to go now? They added that one little building there, which I thought was a nice touch, because you can fall back there or even land there and come in. But they landed 2 more, one on each side or one up top or something. I think that'd be great.
Well, and something else I'll say to that, here's the problem with Octane's Gauntlet. It's honestly, in my view, one of the worst areas to land for a popular area. The loot pool this season seems to be worse than it's ever been for Kings Canyon, and I do not know why. The amount of P2020s and Mozambiques and just lack of any competent gun. It's gotten to the point where I almost would prefer to get a good gun over armor. And I want better armor.
I would too, absolutely.
Yeah, I would take white armor and a good gun versus purple armor and the P2020 that I keep getting over and over again.
Yeah. And then I kill you. I take a flat line with white armor over your P2020 with purple, and I'll kill you with the flat line, and then take your purple and be like, okay, cool.
Yeah, nice. And and that's another thing. The white armor, there's too many of them. The P2020 Mozambiques, too many of the Mastiff being brought into the game, which I think we should probably, this might be a good segue into that if you would, unless there's more map changes.
A little more map, yeah. I gotta touch on the top right.
But the amount of Mastiffs on the map are ridiculous. You either don't find a Mastiff, or you walk into a building, there's 3 of them just sitting on the ground.
I feel I find 5 Mastiffs for every EVA 8.
Yeah. And
honestly. And
the other thing about it is the shotguns need some rebalancing in this, because the mass is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
In an up close 1-on-1 scenario, it's kind of not okay.
I'm watching pro players. I never thought this would happen. I'm watching pro players drop a wingman for a Mastiff. Now I think part of that might be hit registration issues.
There's no regs.
No regs on. I haven't seen any no regs on Mastiffs for whatever the reason. Mastify, whatever. Mastify, whatever the plural of Mastiff would be.
Just a Mastiff.
I have not seen any no regs on that. I saw TSM Abrabula get 3 no regs in a row with a wingman, and he literally told his chat he was going to DM Josh from Respawn and send him that clip, and he did. So hopefully we can see some change, because 3 no regs on our wingman. Oh, bro, I'm about to cry now.
It happened to me the other day at the G7. I got 4 hits in a row in a Bangalore that just didn't register, and she was one shot.
Yeah.
I can't. She did not get away because the last bullet registered and knocked her. I shouldn't have had to shoot 3 more times than I should have to knock her.
It happened to me at G7 last night, and I literally lost my shit. I think I only had 2 though, but still, he was weak. But 4, God help,
4.
Save the queen. Anyways, I can't even remember the no regs. I'm sorry, chat. Anyways, yes, Mastiff's the shotguns need a rebalancing, but Mastiff is super strong right now. I mean, and I get it. There's the recoil of the fire rate. It's not as strong as the Peacekeeper, but when the Peacekeeper the Peacekeeper fully decked. Okay, here's the thing. The Peacekeeper fully decked needed a precision choke, right? Mm-hmm. Needed a precision choke. The Mastiff, you only need a blue bolt.
Or yeah.
A blue bolt, that's all you need. And it's still like nasty. So you can like pop around a corner, hit someone for 80, and then swap to your R99 and clean up with hip fire. Like the Peacekeeper, you couldn't really do it that way. You needed the Peacekeeper to aim down sights, charge the precision choke, walk around slowly a corner, and then shoot. With the Mastiff, you can walk around a corner, basically quip scope with the Mastiff, hit them, use your movement, slide in, finish with R99. So, like, the Mastiff is, like, it's not as strong with its DPS potential necessarily, but its unique weapon properties, the way you use it, combined, like, in a good skill player's hand, is insanely deadly right now.
Yeah, well,
it really is.
The other thing I'll say is that it rewards you more for headshots. It does more damage than the Peacekeeper did. And this is the other thing I'll say about it. The extra shell matters because basically you have enough ammunition to 1-on-2, if that makes sense. You can conceivably kill 3 people with the Mastiff.
And you get 3 taps consistently with the Mastiff. Consistently.
Yeah, with the Mastiff you can reliably, right? If they have white armor, reliably 2-tap people.
Now, if you're saying why isn't it happening for me, it's because you're hip firing. The way the Mastiff spread works is there's a huge difference between hip fire and ADS.
Yes, that's just another thing.
You have to ADS with the Mastiff. If you start ADSing with your Mastiff, oh yeah, you'll 2-tap consistently. I had someone.
Don't ADS if they're like right up on you. By the way, that's a sure way to die.
I think that I hit with 2 shots. I hit like 190 something with the Mastiff the other day. It was like 190 total in 2 shots.
I killed 2. I 200 somebody the other day.
With 2 shots.
With 2 shots. Yeah. I shot this. So I did 90 damage, and then I did over 100 in the head.
Yeah, I think the head's like right max like 125 or 130 or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's more than the Peacekeeper was, and we'll talk about the Peacekeeper in a second, because God, that thing is insane as a gold weapon. But to the Mastiff, the shotgun balancing, the EVA 8 needs either the Mastiff needs nerfed or the EVA 8 needs buffed.
EVA 8 just needs a buff.
Yeah.
I think.
Like, this whole 7 damage thing, that's not flying, dude. Like, in a no-reg situation where that's even a possibility, which has happened, I have no-regged on an EVA 8 shot, like, I don't want to see 7s and 14s. I want to see, like, I want that doubled. Like, I'm sorry, just double the damage. You can decrease the clip size of the EVA 8, but this is my view. It just needs double the damage.
Well, maybe 1.5.
It needs something done to it.
Increased range or something. Yeah, it does need buff, though.
Because, like, even with a double tap trigger on it,
it's a
useless.
give and take, though.
Yeah,
I've seen people get double tap and not use it because, like, it messes up your timing.
Yeah.
And so, like, the double tap's good, but, like, with a purple bolt is going to shoot faster. So, purple bolt, EVA 8, without the double tap, you're able to constantly put that damage on. Purple bolt, double tap, the space between the shots, between the double tap shots, or between the double tap shots will be decreased, but it's still messing up your timing. And like with the double tap, if someone's good with their reaction, if they get hit first, then they're going to maneuver before the second one lands. So like it like the EVA just needs some like work on it. I don't know if the double tap needs to come out faster or what, but like the whole double tap thing, it doesn't necessarily buff the gun. Is the issue.
Yeah.
Like a double tap G7 or a regular G7. What's better? Like I think a regular G7 personally.
Oh, well, yeah.
Unless you have like a gold barrel stabilizer.
Yeah.
Maybe, but like
it depends on the situation.
Yeah, so like it's not necessarily.
It's like saying like what's better between like a burst Hemlock versus like the single fire.
So it gives you and the thing is it gives you versatility, right? So like, if I'm sniping at long range, I would want the single fire on the G7. If I'm in close quarters and I'm peeking a corner, okay, maybe double tap. Same thing with the Hemlock, only reverse, single fire, long range, burst for mid range or close. But what versatility does a double tap give you on a shotgun?
Right.
It's going to be close range regardless.
Yeah, and even if your DPS increases, that doesn't change if your DPS is as low as the EVA is to start. Right? Like, your DPS, the damage on the EVA is so minute. So, like, do you know what you'd have to do to, like... I mean, you'd have to probably pull the trigger 3 times on a double tap to even kill somebody with an EVA 8. Okay?
At least.
That means that that means that you've wasted 75% of your clip to kill one person when they could have just 2-tapped you with a Mastiff.
And they would have probably got the 2 shots off with the Mastiff or Purple Bolt faster than you would have got 2 off with the double. Easy.
So there's no balance there. And the Mozambique is God-given just as useless as ever, except for when you have hammer points and they have no shield. So.
But now with no rigs, you never want to use it.
Yep.
Because there's 3 shots. If you hit one and one, if you hit one for armor, and the next one you're going to hit Swift Flesh is a no reg with a Mozambique, you've got 1 shot left, bro. Last thing with the map, top right corner of the map, I am in love with. I land there literally as often as I can. And this can be a segue transition into characters possibly if you want to go down that road. But the addition of the charge tower stations has indirectly buffed multiple characters. One we'll get to later, Lifeline, because you can get multiple care packages. TSM Reps runs Lifeline on their Predator squad when TSM's running ranked Predator and gets like 4 care packages. They just land there and get 4 care packages and leave with all purple armor essentially. And the other one, and this is the best, in my opinion, the best early game strategy is landing with a Loba at a charging station. You land Loba at the charging station and the other 2 people around her to guard her somewhere. She uses the charging station to instantly get her ult, and then she ults, and everyone on that team instantly gets blue, purple armors for early game, and then they go and they shit on everybody. So like the charging station edition is so good. And you also have that area, which that area itself is good because it gives you the reward of the charging stations, but it gives you the risk because it's ultimate low ground. But then you also have labs right there, so you can rotate to labs to redeploy. And then what they did with the rig is basically a containment 2.0, and it's so fun to land rig. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of top right.
Yeah, and the verticality space on top right is really good right now. You can get up on the pipelines. You can get up on top of like the rig crane itself. There's multiple buildings with multiple levels and multiple floors. Like there's containment with like a stairs downward, and there's like a whole bottom underneath section. There's multiple ways to play it. I had an encircle rank the other day that ended on one of the side buildings of like rig. There was like a road down with a fence, and there's boxes and all this other stuff. And like basically 3 teams couldn't even see each other. Like people had to push out and fight. So, and that is the strongest area of the map. There's no question. Due to the fact that there are 3 charge towers literally right next to each other. That means multiple teams can have ults right away. It's insane for team fighting. It is a hellhole because simultaneously because of the loot patterns. Like if they buff the loot across the board, that place would just be the best area to land no matter what. And yeah, they just need to buff the loot. Before we get into character changes, any honorable mentions about weapons? I'll start off on this one. So honorable mention of the Peacekeeper. It's been removed on such shotguns before we get into the other areas. The Peacekeeper Legendary is ridiculous. It is the best gun in the game, hands down. Like, I saw somebody do a video the other day where you can snipe people for 110 damage at 150 meters with it. That is ridiculous. The choke spread on it is back to like, it is pre-nerf of Capital City Peacekeeper with a choke. Like, during that time when they're like, oh, precision choke, we condense the spread. And the Peacekeeper was literally better than an assault rifle because you could just 110 somebody from across the map. However, it's no Mastiff. So, like, up close, like, it has some trade-off, but it's still the Peacekeeper. So, if you hit your shots, unless you no-rig it. The Hemlock needs nerfed. Sorry to say it. It's a better G7 and it fires too quickly. G7 needs kind of nerfed. It just needs a smaller clip size, I think, on its like upper end.
I was telling you, man. I was telling you about the Hemlock.
I feel it more this season than I did last season. I think the Hemlock is up there now with the G7, especially with no regs, because 30 bullets to 20 is a very big deal.
Yeah.
30 bullets to 20 is a very big deal. And, like, that's the problem with the Hemlock on single fire, is that you can shoot 30 times versus 20, no rigs aside, even though the G7 does do more damage, it's like you're just consistently stacking that damage on, and the pressure is just applied really quickly. The fire rate's really there.
Especially on PC.
Especially on PC. And, yeah, they need to do something about single fire weapons. It's a little too strong. I can't say this enough. The Hemlock's burst feature is actually worse than its single fire feature, unless you're up close and get headshots. Because if you burst people with headshots, they just fall over dead. Same thing with the G7. You never even use the double tap for the very reason that you can just single fire it probably just as fast and poop on people faster than you would without the recoil
and
spread.
ammo, yeah.
And ammo conservation.
Yeah.
Alternator. God, that weapon just needs to be removed. I cannot either put disruptors back in the game on it or remove it. Like, I'm done with that gun. And that SMG is terrible. You gave it 4 more bullets and it still is trash. Okay? You gave it more damage, you gave it more bullets at the max mag stat. It's still trash. Like, it fires slower than the RE45, which got a buff. It gets out DPS by every gun in the game. Like, there's just no reason. It doesn't even matter if the RE45 does less damage. It fires twice as fast as the alternator. So, like, it puts more damage on. Like, it's useless. It's useless at range because basically any assault rifle beats you. Any better SMG beats you. And even in close range, it's useless. Because you feel like you're stacking on damage. Like, if you have an alternator and they have a Mastiff in your close range, you have 0 chance at winning that. At least if it's an R9, you have a good chance at winning that. You don't. You have 0 chance. If they have an R9, you have an alternator. Go home. Okay? Like, just don't even take the engagement. Your best bet with that gun is to surprise people. Okay? I can't speak enough.
True.
That gun just needs to be removed from the game. P2020, look, it's cute. Right? Unless you're going to give it to us off spawn, remove it from the game.
This is what I say. Just add hammer points as a unique property to P2020 map and to Mozambique.
Oh, then it would have to be nerfed to damage. I can't have someone one-shotting people.
You could nerf it a little bit. You could nerf the damage a little bit because off spawn if someone had no armor.
Exactly, yeah. You can't be 3-tapping people with a P2020.
Yes, but you could nerf the damage a little bit. But just have the P2020 Mozambique have unique... nerf the damage and nerf the gun size, the magazine size of P2020 from 10 to 8 and respectively for each clip size. And just add the hammer points as unique properties. With you only have 2 gun slots. You don't have 4.
Right.
Or up to 5 like in Fortnite if you wanted to, depending how you want to do your loadout or whatever. You only have 2 gun slots. When you have a Havoc, that's still nasty, okay? When you have a Flatline, which is still good. When you have a G7 and a Hemlock. When you have a Wingman, which in my opinion is the best it's ever been except for no regs. When you have an R99, when you have an R301, when you have sniper rifles, when you have legendary weapons, when you have all these other good weapons, like, dude, just add the hammer points as unique properties to those 2 guns, nerf the damage a little bit, nerf the ammo size of each on the P2020, and it actually becomes something.
Yeah, and the other thing is like, you have to understand, 10 damage is just not acceptable, dude. Like, it's not. Like, do you realize that you'd have to get... on a no extended mag clip P2020, you have to get 10 headshots in a row to kill somebody with 200 health.
If 1 punch is doing more damage than 3 bullets, we have a problem.
I think actually they nerfed melees without putting that into the patch.
Like for damage?
I think they did. I
hope so.
I think they did. I think it's now like 5. It feels like more. It takes like 5 punches to knock people. It feels like it's more.
Maybe we're getting no ranks on punches.
Don't quote me on that. It feels like it.
Floyd Mayweather and us.
Oh boy, but like P2020 Mozambique, as long as no rigs are in the game, like those guns just shouldn't exist as for me to pick up. The last thing I need is to no rig on a gun that's already doing only 10 damage per bullet, and like I'm not gonna conceivably kill them anyway. The Havoc, to just touch on it, still the best gun in the game that you can pick up. Minus
on console.
Yeah, on console. Minus long range against single fire weapons. They significantly nerfed it in terms of like verticality spread. There is a simple solution to that. hold down right away. Like, you hold down, wait for the first 2 bullets to come out, and then let it rise up, and then hold it like you normally did. And you will start lasering people like that. And up close, that gun is disgusting.
The hip fire.
The hip fire is ridiculous.
The hip fire Havoc. That's my favorite loadout is Wingman Havoc, and you're like, what do you have for close range? The Havoc. And then I also still have the Wingman because the strafe speed on the Wingman is ridiculous. So if you play your movement right, you can still out close range someone with a massive R99, ADSing with a Wingman, especially if you're running what I'm running as my main right now, Bangalore. If you have double time active while you're using a Wingman, you're fucking Neo, bro, from the Matrix. You don't get hit. And that's also Albribile, I can never say his name right, is...
Gabrielli?
Yes, he is, thank you. He is running his main now as Bangalore as well. And Wingman double time is just...
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
And I'll touch on this. Like, my loadout is like Mastiff G7. I will drop the Mastiff if there is enough energy ammo to Havoc around. Like, it's just not...
That's literally the... If energy ammo was as easily found as light ammo, everyone would run a Havoc.
Yeah, and
everyone.
And like, here's the thing:
console.
I full squad wiped squad the other day with the nerfed Havoc. I'm like, the recoil pattern was not the problem. The damage per second's the problem.
Yeah, I saw something. Gaming Merchant did something that's like, if you include the charge time, it actually has a worse DPS than the alternator. If you don't include the charge time, it's the fastest in the game and it beats the R99 by like a whole second. Or not a whole second, excuse me, like a tenth of a second is what I meant. Well, it's like, okay, well, why is it good? Well, because people usually don't start reacting until you shoot them, right?
Right.
So if you're playing your movement smart and your gunfight smart, and you know, like if you're going head to head and someone starts shooting you with an R99 while you're shooting them with a Havoc, you might lose that. But if you're like making sure you're always the one who's like getting shots on target first, by the time they react, they're getting shot. They're going to react once they start getting shot, and so they get lasered so quickly. That's what makes the Havoc so deadly, is because literally, especially when you're slowed by bullets in this game, unless you're a tank, which there's only, 2 tanks in the game, the other 12 aren't, that's why you literally can get lasered by a Havoc in what feels like half a second, because you're getting slowed by the bullets, and you're not going to react until you start getting shot. At that point, you're dead.
And I'll top this off. I'll also talk about another reason why. Because the Havoc's, like, fire rate is so high, this is not something that people commonly think about. It's easier to track with weapons that fire faster.
Yes.
And have a longer clip. And the reason that is because you can constantly confirm whether you're doing damage, and that's easy for you to follow something that's... It's easy for you to follow a target if you can continuously verify that you're still on that target.
Yeah, when your shots are connecting.
When your shots are connecting. Whereas with the alternator, with the space in between the bullets, if you start missing a bullet, you might overcorrect.
Especially on a small hitbox.
On small hitboxes.
It's one of the other things why Flatline's great at closer range and mid-range, but I would not want to use the Flatline the same range with a Havoc.
Right. And as far as other like weapon stuff, the Flatline needs something done to it. I don't know what. I just feel like it's underwhelming right now. It's like losing to the Hemlock and G7 and Havoc, and like, I mean, how many SR rifles?
It just needs a more consistent recoil pattern.
That's the
biggest thing.
Yes, and here's the thing. I don't know if it's like the difference between Xbox and PlayStation, but the R301 this season for me has been really, really good. And I think that gun was trash like 2 weeks ago. Like, I was literally just complaining to him like a week or two ago about it. But like, I feel like the R301, because it's basically a more accurate R9 right now. It doesn't do the damage of an R9. I'm not claiming that. But like, what I am saying is that like, in terms of being able to contest at a range, it feels better. Like, it feels better than it has before. And I'm not sure if that's because of like the map, quality of life changes. I'm not sure if that has to deal with, like, maybe it's a multivariate of things, but I like the R301. Wingman, Skull Piercer, Longbow thing. I need to talk about this right now. The first thing is they need to take the choke out, throw it out,
It's really just on one weapon.
It's on one weapon. What's it in the game for? Like, people don't even really pick up the triple take, and if they do, why would you go for 90 damage when you get a skull piercer and a longbow do way more? The longbow needs nerfed. I got 2 tapped the other day. That is just completely unacceptable. Because the thing is the longbow's fire rate is too fast. Like, for a skull piercer longbow, it is too fast. It is just too fast. Like, you get shot in the head for like 130, 140 damage, and then instantly dropped. Like, you're just insta dropped. Like, if you don't have like purple or red armor. You can get 3 tapped like this. It goes doom, doom, doom. That is not a lot of time. Okay? Like, that's like 1.5 G7. It's like kind of ridiculous for a sniper. And the only thing that should be doing that level of damage, in my opinion, and killing you as quickly is a Kraber. Like, something that should just like one drop you. And there's no reason. Here's the thing: the buffed longbow with a skull piercer has made the Sentinel completely an obsolete sniper rifle. Like, there's no point in picking it up.
I just don't agree.
The Sentinel?
I don't agree. I think I'd rather have a Sentinel over a longbow.
You'd rather have a Sentinel over a skull piercer longbow?
Yeah.
You are the only person who would say that.
Well, now we're skull piercer longbow.
That's what I'm talking about. In potential, I'm taking the longbow.
I'd rather take the skull piercer longbow, but I'd rather have a Sentinel over a longbow. Because they changed it. Now it doesn't take a battery anymore.
To what? To do?
To charge it only takes 2 cells.
I didn't realize that they changed that.
So
I haven't picked one up.
Yeah, so Sentinel no longer takes a battery to add disruptors. It only takes 2 cells. They also added the time disruptors are active by 15 seconds.
Okay, so here's something else I'll say about that though. It doesn't change that longbow will have more starting bullets. It has a faster fire rate. DPS is going to be higher, and top it off, a fire straighter distance.
No, the longbow doesn't fire straighter distance. Sentinel does.
Yeah, I mean, I would venture to guess that you're in close range combat scenarios, you're gonna win with the longbow, and long range combat scenarios, you're gonna win with the longbow.
No, so the longbow has more of a bullet drop. Like the longbow has bullet drop to it. The Kraber and the Sentinel don't have nearly as much bullet drop.
The Kraber has bullet drop.
Not as much as the longbow though.
Well, yeah, but basically all the sniper rifles have a bullet drop that you have to adjust for.
Yeah.
It's not like a straight bullet. But what I'm saying is that, like, at range, if you're going... So, like, if you shoot a Sentinel versus... That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the fire rate is higher, but the bullets themselves from the Sentinel hit your target faster than the longbow's bullets will.
Oh, okay.
The bullet velocity of the bullets that come from the Sentinel go faster than that come from the longbow.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'd agree to that.
Yeah. So I think the longbow skull piercer's better, but man, that like disruptor, I forget what, I think I hit someone like 110 or 115 in the body with disruptor on.
Woo!
Something like that with the Sentinel. And like, so it just depends on your playstyle. If you're going to stay sniping, then yes, I can see wanting the longbow, but I like to really push people up in their face. So I prefer to use my sniper as like, I'm more mid-range, I hit you, and then I crack you, and then my squad's pushing. And so with a Sentinel with disruptors, if I hit you in the head, it's like 150 or 160 damage or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like really high. Like, I'll check it after this, but it's really high. And so not only needing to use cells instead of a battery, like it was a full battery, but now it's just 2 cells. It's not 4, it's 2 cells, and it lasts longer. So like you can literally like have that on almost all the time. So I can crack you and hit you for like 150 and then just full send. But if you're like camping up somewhere, then yeah, I could see using a longbow and then just taking shots at people constantly with like 10 rounds in a mag and pop. Then yeah, but that's one of those playstyle things. But yeah, the Sentinel this season is not ass. It's good. It's good.
I still, my opinion, longbow I think is the best sniper in the game, other than the Kraber.
Yeah, with skull piercer, yeah, definitely. It's definitely the best with the skull piercer. Hitting like what, 120 or 125, something like that.
I couldn't believe it. I got dropped. Yeah. I got dropped. He shot me once. I was like, oh, and then he shot me. I was like, oh, and I fell over. I was like, so arrest
me. Yeah. And then he still got 8 bullets.
Exactly. He dispatched my whole team and over half of another.
Yeah. The only thing is that's one of those like high skill things because like a lot of top tier players will never pick up a longbow because they rather just use a wingman because the wingman's basically doing the same damage minus a little bit, but it's firing faster and like way faster ADS strafing. So if you're like playing top tier, then there's no reason to run longbow. But like on console with like medium tier skill level, then yeah, longbow is still probably you're just not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to have the precision. Like, controller helps more with, like, automatic weapons. But when you're trying to, like, hit flick shots or just hit one bullet, that's where PC shines the most. Which is why a lot of PC players run, like, Massive Peacekeeper and Wingman. It's because they can hit those, like, shots easier. And a lot of console players run, like, Havoc and R301. It's because that the aim assist is going to help with that, like, the recoil of the automatic weapon. But like so for console, like wingman long range is really hard to use, but on PC they'll just snipe with the wingman.
Yeah. So. I'll talk about the wingman real quick. With no regs in the game, if you don't know, we've said it several times in this, there's lack of registration on confirmed hits, and we know they confirm by the sounds it makes.
In the blood.
In the blood that comes out of their body.
The blood, yes.
And it just doesn't register the damage, which is very frustrating, and they need to fix that. Some people are even boycotting playing the game in any way. I know the competitive scene's not happy about it at all.
Yeah, TSM was going to hold a tournament on Sunday. It was like a $50,000 tournament. They canceled the tournament.
Because of it. But the wingman was the only gun that they buffed with Skull Piercer. And my problem is that it does more damage than it did before, and it should have just stayed the same because the wingman was perfect.
It is, my opinion, the best gun, the best non-legendary gun in the game, is my opinion on the wingman. I've been running wingman Havoc or wingman Flatline, and the wingman is slapping so hard. I mean, the Skull Piercer edition is like what, like 115 or 120? Something like that.
I'd have to look that
up. With the headshot, like all I know is I'm 3-shotting people consistently with the wingman. It's literally.
Oh yeah.
I can't now. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I feel like in the last season, if you're going against a Cossack or Gibraltar without a gun shield, that a one headshot, 2 bodies wasn't enough, and I'm also pretty sure on like non-low profile characters like a Bangalore, 2 bodies and a headshot may not have been enough, and also with red armor. But all I know is from my experience, it seems like the amount of 3-shotting I'm doing, like 1 headshot, 2 body, has been doubled this season.
Yeah. And
because of that increased damage to the Skull Piercer, whatever it did was just enough. I don't know if it has to do with certain characters or with red armor or whatever. But all I know is like the amount of 3 shots I'm getting this season, I've never gotten as many 3 shots with a wingman in my entire life. It's like, and when you get 3 shots with a wingman, bro, it's literally impossible to contest because like the strafe speed's so fast on that thing, man. Like you could literally strafe through R99 bullets. Like like it's so crazy, dog. Like honestly, but yeah, wingman's incredible right now. I love it.
Yeah, I think the wingman right now is the best in between gun in the game. Like if you have to go in between close range and long range, like the G7 is not good at close. Like if you get run up by an R9 or Havoc close range and you have a G7, you just hope that your secondary is better or start hip firing like mad or run. Yeah. Like and in long range, it's one of the only guns that can severely contest long range for considerable damage. I feel like it fires slower this season a little bit. Like I feel like I'm not hitting people at a distance like I used to.
With the wingman?
Yeah, like
I feel the exact opposite, bro. I've been sniping with that thing. Yeah, I just keep strafing. Like I literally, people tried to hemlock me the other day, and I just kept strafing back and forth, and this dude's missing his hemlock shots, and I just kept dinging him, bro. Just kept dinging him.
Medium range though, I still feel the G7 beats it. But it's you have. I mean, here's the thing. The wingman is a feast or famine gun anyway, because like, if I'm tracking you with a G7 and you're tracking me with a wingman, like, if I miss a bullet, it is far less punishing than if you miss a bullet. It's not only like 15 damage difference, whereas like you allow damage to be 15 per shot per trade, but like, it depends. if I hit you in the head.
I was gonna say I disagree because of the skull piercer and strafe speed. It's more forgiving now.
Maybe.
The wingman is.
Maybe, but like I still feel that right now the best mid-range to long-range weapon in the game is still like the G7. Like they need to do. I can't believe 72 damage exists. I can't.
Isn't it 68 now?
It might be 68.
But still,
I still can't believe 68 damage exists. It's a 3-shot gun in the head.
Bro, the wingman 2-shot you.
I like literally. Okay, I'll give you. I'll paint you a scenario. Some guy portaled out and took his portal and started walking this way. I waited till I could shoot him to the point where he would for sure go down before he got back in the portal. I 4-tapped that person, shot him in the head one time, and 3 other times in the body. Dead. G7. I need a purple mag on that. You know what that means? 5 people could have walked through and run in that exact same scenario, and they're dead. You know what, the wingman, you 3-tap people, that's enough for 2 people, and the last guy still could kill you.
Yeah.
The G7, bro, 20 bullets. What are we doing out here with that much ammo on a single fire gun? That is ridiculous. It is
a lot, bro.
It's
G7's so G7's so strong.
Bro.
But I'm taking the wingman for myself.
That's fine. You take the wingman havoc, I'll run the G7 mask, and we'll just wreck everybody. How about that?
That works out perfect for ammo consumption.
It does.
Light, shotgun, and then energy heavy.
Yep. No conflict.
Yeah, exactly.
We got the duo squad ready. We out here. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get into the tier list.
Okay. The fun part.
Yeah, this is it, guys.
The 1 hour mark.
Thank you for staying with us through the season 5 changes. We're going to talk about the tier list. This could take us a while. We're going to start. How we're going to do this? We're going to format. We're going to start from the bottom, go up. And I'm going to start with the only character that either of us haven't seen because he has nobody in D or C, I believe. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, I have no D or C legends. I actually think it's the most balanced it's ever been.
Okay.
In Apex.
I have a C- character. I made a note to call him C- because he's so booty. It's like not even funny.
What?
Yeah, it's bad, bro.
Who is
but
it?
We'll get to it in a second. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna start. I'm gonna go in C, and then he's gonna. We're gonna move up then to B, right? Because there's only one legend in there. And then once we get there, right? He's going to pick up. I'm going to have the restroom, but then when I come back, we're going to just go back and forth and talk about characters and whatnot. So I'm going to start off in C. He's C-. He's almost D tier. Revenant.
Bro, he's S+.
He's S+. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about Revenant. So he got buffed last season insanely. He had his low profile removed. He got 2 charges instead of 1 on his silence. And, you know, his totem got buffed from having respawn back at 1 health to 50. Here's the problem with this character. His silence is too hard to use. And what I mean by that is the majority of the people getting silenced in a game with this character are the people who walk into it intentionally to kill you because they know that you're dead either way, or they're just that thirsty, and they're probably going to kill you because you're playing Revenant. And the other problem is what he adds to the team is not good. Okay? This would be something, and we're also going to talk about like buffs, about what the characters need. His totem thing is a death trap waiting to happen, okay? If you watch a Revenant place a totem, which the whole world knows when he places one anyway, because that thing is as loud as a Bloodhound ult.
Oh, God.
Like, the whole world knows when a Revenant's in the area, and, like, his totem can be gate-kept by a caustic gas trap, which will kill your team once they go back to it. So you spawn back with 50 health, right, which is more than the 1 health that you had last season to instantly die to caustic gas trap, except for you're going to take 26 health damage exiting that. If the caustic's already gas trapped that, guess what that means? He already knows where it is. If he throws multiple gas traps stack, and if he ults it, which I have done since his buff with caustic, and there's a gas trap there, you are bona fidely dead. Okay, the gas will just kill you, and you won't even get out of the gas. Okay, it can stack to do like it's 10 damage per tick almost immediately, and you start moving slowed out of the center of that ult. You don't know where you're going. And mind you, the entire team knows where you are. We all watched you teleport back to where it is. We all know you're hiding behind that rock. Thermites, lasers incoming. Okay? You're not healing the 50 health. The idea of his ult is to be able to engage for free, go back to a safe location, and re-engage and win the fight. The problem is it takes you away from the damage in the first place. So, like, let's just say that his ult is here, and the fight is here. And we trade, and you go here, and I'm Pathfinder, and go here. Guess what? You might as well have done no damage to me at all. This might as well have been just a reset situation, and your ult didn't do anything. Which is probably like the greatest problem with this ult in the first place. The whole idea of having to disengage to re-engage in a game where half the... Like, I mean, can you imagine Loba? She gone. She 70 meters that way. She could take a battery and a med kit before you travel 70 meters to get to her. Easy. And that's despite the fact that you had to teleport away from the fight in the first place. So, in my view... And here's the thing, the silence is useless, man. 10 damage and the small hitbox that it is, like, get real, dude. A gas trap, way more effective. Way more intimidating. Does way more. Watson Fence does way more. Watson Fence does the same damage and stuns you. Stuns. As in, you don't move. And then when you walk through it, you're moving slow. Very, very, very slow. His silence and 10 damage. Oh, congratulations. Suck havoc. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this, and then here's the other thing. Scaling a building, crawling to taller heights, as if we don't have characters who just teleport themselves up there. Or a zip line. Or a zip line for the whole team. Or the fact that, we landed on the roof in the first place. It's not that big a deal. All right? Like, it might be a bigger deal in places like Capital City where you can scale, like, taller buildings more with his, like, ability. Useless virtually anywhere else where everyone can basically crawl on top of the roof from the bottom floor anyway. Especially on Kings Canyon. Like, the whole concept of him climbing up the side of a building more, it just doesn't have the same utility when everyone else can basically do the same thing from either the floor underneath it or the ground itself. So, with that reason, he is a C tier, borderline C- character. Oh. He doesn't offer anything that anybody else doesn't offer something better to. Like, you can name any other character in the game. Octane, is not a C character to me. He's a B tier character to me. The fact that his ult's up every 60 seconds now is a little ridiculous. Like, people just flying everywhere now. He can run faster and chase people down. And Revenant can't even do that. Like, he doesn't have mobility. He doesn't... What he adds to the team is either a death trap or a disengagement of a fight that they're winning. Or in worst case scenario, a disengagement from a fight they're losing. So it's like, something needs to be done. And this is what I change. And I know when you get to Revenant, I'll talk about this. His silence needs to have the orb stay there, and it needs to be a splash. Like a AoE attack that has a small dome where it just expands and a wave comes out and it silences people. That would be so much more effective because basically he can shoot it in a general area and affect multiple people. The second thing that needs to happen is the way his ult works just needs to be redone. I would be okay with them taking full health, full shields off and then respawning back with 50 health. That would be a better ult. Because this way, you are not having to take this engagement. 100 health...
It's too strong.
It's a buff, and it's better than what it is now, because taking 100 damage is like... Taking 100 damage is the equivalent of Nate shooting you almost one time in the head with a wingman. You're gone. That's it. A G7 gets you all, there in 2 shots. I can't justify this character being any higher when the DPS, a Mastiff, 1 tap, gone. That's not even engagement. You might as well have not even taken the damn thing. And not to mention you have to sit there and take it physically. Your DM has to walk up to it, disengage from the fight, take it, then go out there and fight, and hope that it somehow pays off. And it just doesn't do anything. And if you get bombarded, if you get caustic, Watson, whatever, I feel like I'm rambling on at this point. That character, to me, is is not good. Like, he just doesn't... In this game, everybody does something that he does but better, and what he does just doesn't add enough. And it's too easy to counter. So...
Yeah. I've got Revenant at B.
Yeah.
C minus. I got him at B. Okay. Now, there's a couple things with Revenant. He is inherently a very weird character to try to mess with. And there's multiple reasons for this. One, you don't really want in a game where everything you're doing and a lot of what you're doing has to do with using character abilities, right? High skill gap, winning your gunfights in 1v1s and in team scenarios is using abilities. If you made his tactical ability too strong with the silence, it'd be broken. If you were doing the splash thing like Marcus was talking about, where it would literally silence like the entire team, that would be too strong. And like it wouldn't be fun. Like, oh my god, like every team's got a Revenant, I literally can't use my abilities ever. Like, this game's not fun now. So, his tactical, I think, is okay where it's at. The only thing I would change is to make his tactical do more damage. Now, again, with comparisons to Wattson and Cossack, the thing his tactical offers is range. Wattson, you have to set up a fence. You have to literally go and set up a fence. It's all defensive. You're not going to... Wattson has no offensive capabilities at all. The only offensive thing Wattson offers is if you're doing a Wattson on a push and she turns an offensive position into a defensive hold. That's the only thing Wattson offers offensively, right? So we push, we take height, I place down my pylon to stop a third party. So Wattson basically allows you to be more offensive because she can instantly make something defensive. However, when you're talking about pure offensive abilities, Wattson doesn't have any. Okay, like, so the fence thing that Marcus was mentioning is true, but you have to take the time to build the fence and make it defensive. Cossack gas traps are too, but you can only do it too far. I saw, I think it was actually Imperial Howl who was using Revenant, and there was a portal play that was being made endgame, and the Wraith was in middle of portal. So she's literally got her portal and she's running like Sonic the Hedgehog, and he shoots her, silences her, kicks her out of portal, removes portal. The portal doesn't set. It kicks her out of portal, removes portal, and now she can't Q. That entire team instantly is dead. They instantly lasered the Wraith. He called it out. They all focus fire the Wraith. The Wraith's dead. And whoever her two teammates were who were going to try to take that portal were screwed. So that's what Revenant offers in that situation. Wattson couldn't do that, definitely. Cossack couldn't do that. The only thing Cossack could do is throw his ult. That doesn't matter. You throw the ult on that Wraith, she's going to Q through the fucking gas and still go set her portal, and your ultimate was just wasted. So Revenant's silence ability is actually very underrated right now. The biggest thing would either need to be a 1, an increase in damage on the orb itself, or 2, a little bigger AoE on the silence ability itself. That would be the only things. But his silence ability is actually incredibly strong with situations like that. The biggest issue, now his passive I love, being able to climb faster, I actually think is very underrated as well because it's not an ability. So it doesn't have a 30-second cooldown. Being able to climb up buildings just straight up outright is very good and very unexpected because people are not hearing you grapple or hearing you do something. You're just climbing, so it can surprise a lot of people. So that's very strong. The reason, and also I saw this as well, where someone was nading this corner and the Revenant just like climbed up like 20 feet. He just climbed up. He didn't climb onto anything, but he literally just scaled the wall like Spider-Man up 20 feet. All the nades landed at the corner, then he was able to go back down and survive all that nade push that happened to him. Now, again, to your point, there's not as much terrain to do those types of things on King's Canyon as there was World's Edge with buildings. So you can't use him as well as you would be able to then. So those things, his ability and his passive, I actually think are A-tier category type things, but his ultimate is the most deceptive ass ultimate in the game. It is so deceptively bad. And here's why, okay? So you go and you push, and I saw TSM do this, and it effed them. It really did. You go and you push with 100 health, because that's what you have. You go and you push the team, and you do some damage. Let's say in a perfect world, you go and you know, okay, you killed them and somehow won a gunfight. Well, that team obviously must have sucked. You just killed purple and red armor with 100 health. Let's say in a perfect world, what probably happens is you go and you crack all their armors, and you die, so you basically trade, let's say. Let's say they all have red armor. And you crack all their red armor, and you get respawn back at the totem. You have to travel back. Okay? So now the question is, are you going to be able to travel back fast enough before they have time to pop a battery? That is a risk I do not want to take. As soon as they kill you and they see you do your little spirit animation back through the clouds, going back to your totem, they're popping a battery, and my God, if they have a caustic, and that caustic starts throwing out gas, so they pop a battery, you come back now, and they've got that red armor I was talking about, 225 to 150, buddy. How do you like them odds? How do you like them odds, okay? So you literally like, and then if you place it too close, what the fuck's the point?
Yeah.
If you place it too close, why don't you just go in and put on a pair of balls and take the gunfight, and if you start to get laser, disengage like a real man. Like, what the hell? So if you place it too close, it gives you nothing. If you place it too far away, it gives you nothing because they heal. People heal in this game, bro. If you're playing a bunch of bots on PS4 who just want to try to win every gunfight and never want to fucking heal, then yeah, Revenant's God tier. If you're playing against competent players, the Ultimate sucks ass. Okay? So, God, I'm so sick and tired of this Ultimate. Because I see the other things. The silence has got great potential. The freaking, even for pushing, like, bro, I was silenced as a caustic the other day. I started to panic. I started panicking, bro. We got pushed by a team as a caustic. I got silenced. I can't do anything, bro. I can't throw gas. I can't do an ultimate. I'm literally just standing there like, I'm a fat man now who's got a huge ass hitbox. So like that's great. But like, dude, his ultimate's so bad. Like I don't know. I don't know if they want to do what you're talking about, which I think would make it really strong. Or my other idea is make it so that you always respawn at 50 health, even if you go into the ultimate having just 5 health. Because right now, if you go into the ultimate having under 50 health, you respawn at that. So this would be good for defensive, right? So if they did it that way, you're about to die, you could hit the ultimate at 10 health, die, and then respawn with 50. That still wouldn't be great for like pushing, but hey, it's at least it would add something for like escapability or like a panic defensive thing. Or if you guys were about to die to storm, and you had 10 health, and you placed it, and then you respawn at 50 to give you enough time to pop a med kit, or if you got gas ulted by a caustic, they'll give you more time to survive. Like, that would add some sort of utility to his ultimate, but right now, because of what I just described, his ultimate on paper looks amazing. In reality, it is so ass, bro. So that's why he's in B tier for me. That's what I discussed.
So I'll also add to that. So what I think would also be cool is there's another way to buff it, kind of like along the lines. So let's say that you have 1 health, you take the ultimate, it gives you 100, and then respawns you back at 50. That would be good. That might be a lot less. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like if you get put down to 1, you take the ultimate, you have 100, it fills you back up to 100, you die, you come back, you have 50.
That would be fantastic, because also
cool.
If you want to push a team and you're both weak, you wouldn't need to heal yourself before you pushed. You go in the ultimate, have the 100 health, but you'd still be weak because you wouldn't get the armor benefit. I like that.
And you could take a battery and then take the ult.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And then you'd have whatever. That'd be kind of cool. So I want to talk about my my next B tier character, and I believe that we're probably both gonna have this person in B tier, Octane.
Yeah.
Octane did not deliver on their promises with the buffs that we talked about. They talked about at the beginning of the season, and it's unfortunate because here's the thing: buffing his ult to 60 seconds doesn't change what's wrong with Octane. Octane doesn't have any verticality. He only has the horizontal. And yes, he gets extra movement speed for his stem. But the fact that he takes 12% damage is egregious. The difference between 12% is like it doesn't seem like a lot at first, but when you start calculating DPS, on some guns that's one less bullet they have to hit you with. Like an R9, that's like an entire bullet they don't have to hit you with to kill you. And those numbers equate, especially because like it's one thing to stem into a fight, it's another thing than to stem again during that fight.
Or out of it. So whenever you hear, hey, he's one shot, no, he's not, he's dead because he was Octane.
Yes. And that's the problem. Because, like, it's not that a lot of people think of it, it's balanced, but they think of it as a one-time use. But that's not how the ability is meant to be used. It's meant to be used several times. And the thing is using it several times is after you use it twice. I mean, we're getting into the damage territory of you getting shot twice by a Hemlock.
Using it twice would be 24%, so that's the difference between white armor and blue.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you just might as well remove a block of your health.
Cell.
Yes. You might as well remove the block of your health. And the shield, the health regen, 1 health per second is 12 seconds to counteract 1 stem, and you have to take no damage. So, like, even... So if I stem and I get pinged by 1 bullet, that timer resets. So it's like not even really viable. And in terms of like health regeneration for him, it just doesn't get the job done. His ult is a great quality of life change though. It is one of the best ultimates in the game now. I don't care what anyone says about Octane Man's or your opinions of him, anyone's opinions of him. But any mobility for the team, period, doesn't matter what it is good. And the Octanes are also getting smart, like putting jump pads in front of doors that people have to exit, so it like ruins their aim and trajectory outside of the building.
Multiple jump pads in the same fighting area too,
yes.
Which is something that happened the other day. We have an Octane, because of how fast his ult charged, literally put like 3 different jump pads in an area we were controlling. So when we had to take fights, we could literally take these jump pads, get back on high ground, run, hit another jump pad. And so that 60 seconds now is like, you have to think like it's the difference, like it's only 30 seconds difference, but in reality with how it feels, is the difference between being able to get 1 pad out to 2.
Yes.
Right, because like, yeah, it's only 30 seconds faster, but at the 2-minute mark, you'd still only have 1 pad. Mm-hmm. But now you have 2. And like, so when you're pushing, like when you're trying to set up, having those multiple pads is actually really nice.
And that's also, and this is another thing over the course of the game, like think about this, you exponentially get more jump pads than you ever would. So like at 3 minutes, you have 3 jump pads in 20 seconds into your 4th, when you might have 2 jump pads the way that it was before. So like, there's no way this is not a good change for him. The problem just is his stem ability needs reduced. The damage on it needs to either be less, like 5 or none, and give it a cooldown of 3 seconds or something, or 5 seconds. I don't care what it is, but it is heinous the way that it is right now. Like, there's no incentive when if I'm getting shot, okay, there's no incentive for me to even attempt to use that to help me give myself some mobility in a fight, to like outplay my opponent. It's just,
the stem needs a rework.
It's bad. It's so bad, and
it makes this passive like literally does nothing.
Yeah.
Because like, I guess passive's doing nothing. You're like, okay, well, you can get health back when you're damaged and you're not stemming, but part of his build is that you should be stemming like quite a bit, right? Like you should be stemming quite a bit. So they either need to reduce the cooldown or make the cooldown longer, make it so it's a longer cooldown. Make it like they need to do something, but right now it counteracts the passive with the stem of how it's currently structured, counteracts the point of how the character's been intended to be used.
And I'll put this into perspective for people, and this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll pass the torch to you. His stem, coupled with his health regen, is so bad. The 12 seconds it takes you to regen health, okay? Let's say you stem twice. You can take a syringe in 4 seconds? Yeah. In 4 seconds, you can do something that his passive would have done in 24.
Yeah, it's terrible, bro.
Like why on earth at that point do you even have the passive? It doesn't do anything. So, like, I don't know
Again,
what...
one of those things with Revenant where on paper, oh, health regen, awesome.
Right.
In game, bad.
Bad. In game, bad. So, he just needs a severe quality of life change. His passive either needs to be reworked, and the stem definitely needs to be reworked. Especially if the stem gets reworked. Like...
Yeah, those two kind of go hand in hand right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's all I have to say about Octane. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I am on the same page.
Next character then.
For B tier,
Mm-hmm.
we'll go to Mirage.
You have Mirage in B tier?
I do, yeah.
Sweet.
Mirage in B. I was thinking about A, but I play with them, and there's a couple. It may need to be quality of life. I think he's got A tier potential, but sometimes his decoy still just doesn't work properly. If that makes sense, like you can be okay. So one, this is probably the biggest jump we've seen from a character, because Mirage was already the laughing stock of the entire, like, everything. Like, he was the laughing stock of the community. Like, people were putting 1 HP totem Revenant over Mirage at times still. Like, that's really bad. Now he's got A tier potential. They just fix a couple of things with him. First of all, the decoy now being able to actually control the decoy is so good. So I think on console it's a little bit harder to do than PC, but if you get good at sending out his decoy and then immediately, as soon as you send it out, like you literally press like on PS4 L1 and then down the D-pad, like immediately as soon as you send the decoy out, taking control of the decoy, you will be literally right next to each other, like what me and Marcus here are with the decoy. And you can control which side it comes out on, right or left. So what this means is if you get good at it, when you go around to peek corners, you can have that decoy go out first. And so if you're good at like sliding, like slide peeking or like hugging that corner well, when you have that decoy, they're going to shoot that decoy first because it's going to now mimic what you do, which means now that the initial phase of DPS that they're doing with their ADS is going to be on that decoy, which can give you a small amount of window that you need to locate that target and out damage that target. Also, just in straight up gunfights, not in that scenario, but just like in a room scenario, if you like, let's say slide and run into a doorway and there's the two of you, you are basically in that moment giving your opponent a 50-50 chance of whether or not they're going to lose that gunfight. Because if they aim at your decoy first and start damaging that decoy, again, you are having an opportunity of window where you have ultimate advantage on your opponent and you should be able to win that gunfight because of that DPS window. Now that is 50-50 because if they pick right and they pick you, your decoy does nothing. But still, that is way better than it was before where you would slide in. You're not doing that before. You're sending your decoy into a room and hoping they get bamboozled. Now you can slide, jump into a room, pop up, and there's literally two of you. So having like a 50-50 opportunity to have what I think should be almost a guaranteed win for you if you capitalize on that situation is way better than what we had before with just sending that decoy in. Also, being able to revive teammates as invisible is fantastic. Again, this is one of the things they just need to tweak the animation a little bit. Basically, for the first 20 to 25% of the revive animation, you're not really invisible. You can still kind of see, like, it still flashes some. So, like, the head will still flash, the arms and legs will still flash. So, like, for the first fourth of the revive, you're not really invisible. The full revive doesn't need to be invisible because that'd just be too strong. That'd be like Bangalore smoke without having smoke, like is what you're doing. You're popping smoke to go invisible, but now you're literally invisible. But if they could just take that back to like 10 or 15% of the time bar instead of like 25 or 30, which is what it feels like now, but still being able to revive while invisible is insanely clutch. And then the last thing is his ultimate. His ultimate is like, honestly, this is what keeps him at B tier for me, okay? Because those two things I think have A tier potential with the passives he has and his ability. The ultimate's a little weird. It's a little weird for me right now. Just like the way it operates I feel is weird. I don't know if you've sensed it as well. But like you can kinda use it, but you can't. Like so I'm not gonna pop my ult and then run around the corner and then push you because all my clones are gonna run like the way it works is it's kind of like a circle. So they're not going to be with me when I push that corner. They're going to be doing the same movement I'm doing in different directions. So like what could happen is I could push that corner and there might be a clone who's like pushing this corner over here. But if I'm a smart player, like why the heck if you're pushing me would you face that way and run that way? That doesn't make any sense. So if you're inside like a closed building and you pop your ult, yes, that thing is freaking crazy, bro. Like I've straight up like clutched 3v1s in that situation because you really have like 8 or 10 of you all doing the same thing. They don't know what to do. So if you're like in a containment type building or a rig type building, like a bigger one of those, and you use it, or like a 82 or just any building, yeah, that's insanely powerful. And so that being able to use it that way every minute is fantastic. The disengagement's kind of okay. It's not as good as if you can go invisible, because if you're shooting someone and they use the ult, they go like half invisible for a second, but they don't move. So like if I'm tracking you and you use your ult, all I have to do is stay where I was aiming and you're dead. Like you don't teleport to being a different decoy. So I would like to see them do a little bit more touch up on him to get him to A tier. But with that said, used correctly in like good hands, he still has a ton of daily potential on his offensive capabilities especially. And this was definitely... This is what a buff / work to a character is supposed to look like. I mean, he's going from... If we had more than 3 players to a squad and you have like 4, I'm just thinking like if I was trying to push a building with a Caustic and a Mirage at the same time, oh my god. Like if you just had like gas going off everywhere and like 10 Mirages everywhere, bro, I would literally have a brain aneurysm. Like I wouldn't know what to do. So for me, this is a good job, Respawn, B tier.
So I also have Mirage in B, but he is B tier, borderlining on A tier, with another character that I have in B. I want to talk about his quality of life changes in my perspective. The Invis revive thing is actually, in my opinion, worse than Bangalore Smoke, and I'll tell you. I guess I'll just talk about that straight out the gate. The problem is that at a distance, it might be good. Most of those situations are being attempted by Mirages when people are on top of them, and anyone with a headset can just hear where that is. Like, if you spin in the room, you basically can hear the audio changes, and you know right where they're at. You can kill the character, that's down, you can kill him. So even if it was invisible from 0 to 100, the only way that's good is if it's a revive a distance away. The problem is, though, even at a distance, unlike Bangalore Smoke, is if someone has a sniper rifle, they can see you. If you are marked, they can see you. I didn't realize this the other day, but if Bloodhound scans you and you ult or go invisible, he can still see you. So... it does not... I'm not sure if that was the buff to the scan. Same thing with Crypto Drone.
Yeah, you can see him in thermal.
Yeah.
You can still see Mirage in thermal.
You can still see Mirage in thermal and the person you're picking up. So there are things to counter him, and the thing is like it's one of those things. The revive looks super good on paper, but it's the same problem, right, that his previous ultimate had. And the previous ultimate was that you could hear him and see where his footsteps were, so you could shoot him. And that was the problem with his ult before. Now it's, I can definitely hear you, I'm getting closer to the sound, it's not moving, it's right there, and now I just shoot you. So Bangalore Smoke has 2 things. It has sound, sight distortion, and you have to walk into a scenario that you don't see. So if there's a caustic gas trap sitting in the corner, for example, and I throw a smoke down in the building, and I go to res my teammate, you can't just look through the windows and guess where I'm at. Like, especially with what he's talking about where it's glitchy. You can't see anything. You have to physically go in there, find me, and if there's another teammate of mine in there, or a gas trap or something, you can't see any of that. You are screwed at that point, right? You walked into our territory now.
And it's sniping at long range, so you're talking about.
Yeah.
If I see where the down person is and the Mirage comes over, I can just shoot where you're at. With the smoke, he pops the smoke and waits like a second or 2.
And you move.
You're moving around.
Yep.
Now I have to constantly shoot to try to find that. Well, guess what? Their third teammate can now push shots on me while I'm trying to guess.
And so, like, I still think the Bangalore Smoke aside from Gibraltar's clear bubble, right, and Lifeline's clear pickup, she's still, he's like the 4th best reser in the game, behind those other 3.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's as strong as Bangalore Smoke, and that's after serious consideration about thinking about how his abilities work in comparison to everyone else's. His ultimate. I cannot believe I'm about to say this. It is probably, without situation awareness, one of the best ults in the game. Like, it is an A to an S tier ult. And here's why. As Nate said, when you are in an enclosed space, and that's by yourself, okay? By yourself in an enclosed space, and that ultimate goes off, it is immediately disorienting. You have to already know where that Mirage is, otherwise you have a huge problem on your hands. All these things flying around in front of you, you start picking them off. Like, I have actually died to Mirages inside of a building because I mistracked where he was. However, I'm still pretty good at tracking most of them anyway, so I end up killing them. This is a scenario that I want to outline, which highlights his best scenario. There's actually 2 scenarios, but this first one really caught my attention. So I was observing, before we third-partied, a fight going on. And it's one of those things where, like, you don't shoot till you get up to them, because the last thing you need is to put shots on somebody who's far away from you and then allow them to run to get in cover. This guy was fighting this Mirage, and he ulted. Like, he had lost sight of him behind a box for a second, and then the Mirage ulted and ran in a circle. And I see a lot of Mirages doing this. The problem with running in a circle is once one clone passes in front of you, and they've even done this to me, when the one clone runs in front of you and you shoot one, if you second guess the fact that you just shot a clone, which a lot of people do, they don't trust that they've tracked the right one, you've lost him. It's amazing to watch him just lose it. And this is what happened. He ran in a circle, he second guessed, stopped, and tried to readjust, and the Mirage ran around, stopped, and shot him on this side and killed him. It was like one of the best things I'd ever seen about it. And here's the other thing. When you run in a circle in open space and the clones are rotating in the circle and you dart, if they've lost you, they don't know which one to go after.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one of those things where, like, a skilled Mirage player who's, like, they've started to figure out, like, what they need to be doing in the proper spacing, right? So enclosed space, good. Outside space, good. This is where it's bad. And this is where it's a nerf from last season, is he can't push into a building with it. Because, if he outs outside of a door and then walks in the door, his clones are just doing nothing outside the door.
Yeah.
So it's useless in that regard. It's only good on top of it. That, coupled with the fact that it has a 60-second cooldown, is ridiculous. It is easily one of the best ults in the game. I mean,
and the gold helmet takes it down to 45.
Yeah.
Which is literally, like, almost at that point, you're almost doing a grapple.
It's like almost every gunfight.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
It's like every gunfight that he's in, his ultimate is up. And it is such a pesky ult to deal with. I mean, think about it, man. Like he said, there are tactical abilities that with him with the gold helmet are 10 seconds behind him. Like, Wraith's Q is 10 seconds behind his ult if he has a gold helmet. Wow. Or 10 seconds in front of him. That's just insane.
Yeah.
This is the other thing that I'll say, and I kind of agree with Nate. If they had buffed this, he'll be an A tier. He is, in my view, B tier, high B tier. B plus is what I'd say. Yeah. Or B.5 to B plus.
Right on the edge.
He's right on the edge. But his clone thing, I'm not falling for it, dude. For starters, if I watch you deploy it, that's not helping. Yeah. That's just doing nothing. And Bloodhound and crypto scans, dude, there are so many Bloodhounds running around right now, it's ridiculous. And Bloodhound just completely decimates crypto. Not crypto, Mirage. It doesn't even matter. Like, your clones and your ultimates suck. For 4 seconds, the entire team knows that it's not you. Like, it doesn't even do anything. Like, your ultimate doesn't do anything. Like, oh, well, there's the one with the diamond. Everyone shoot that. And so it's like, you get countered by an ability that's up like every...
25
seconds?
20 or 25.
25 seconds?
Yeah.
It's like, Bloodhound just...
Bro, I got scanned 3 times in the same gunfight.
Yes!
In the same gunfight. You know how mad I was? You know how many times I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this building here and get an angle. I'm going to get high ground up here. Scan detected. Yeah. Shit, bro. And then, like, I'm playing a lot of Bangalore.
That's useless. Boy, yeah, you smoke. At that point, you just put yourself at a disadvantage.
So wait 4 seconds to smoke? Oh, that's a lot of time to get lasered, bro. Like, thank God I have the double time. That's about it. Yeah. The Bloodhound is super good right now. He's another one who's high B tier for me.
Yeah. And yeah, so for those reasons I've listed, and here's the final thing. He can't be also, and this might be something that always prevents me from putting him in A tier. He still doesn't do anything for the team. I mean, even Revenant's ult, even though it does something for the team and it puts them in a horrible position, it still does something for the team. And we can talk about scenarios where they could buff it to make it better. Being invisible on the ground when I can hear you doesn't help. And being at range, if I can see you, it doesn't help. Like these things don't make the difference. Right? Like, and here's the thing, even if he picked people up, let's say I'm outside the building, but I can't see you, but I can hear that you're rezzing in there, and I walk in there. I was walking in that building whether you were invisible or not. It doesn't matter. So, like, and here's the other thing. This is also something that a lot of Mirage players who are new and trying to use them because they got buffed, do not res with your decoy out. Period. Like, just don't. If you've attached your decoy to mimic what you do, and you go down and res somebody, you might as well have not even tried to res them invisibly at all. It's like what's that Mirage doing? Crouched over in an animation that he cannot be doing other than resing right now. It's like a beacon. Here, come shoot me, please. Hey, he's to the left of me or the right. Like, just start shooting on either side of the clone. Depending on if you have, like, I guess if it's on the back, if his back is to you, it's on the left. And if he's facing you, it'd still be on the left. It's the left or right. It's always going to be on the side. So, like, bottom line is like, that's just basically a tall tale. Oh, and don't ult and res people. I saw someone do that the other day. I'm like, what are you doing, man? You're not fooling anybody. Oh, what? They're all going to just, no, come on. You know why? Because guess what? There's a gap. There's a clone missing. Does that make sense? Like, you help me find you in open space faster when you do. Look for where there's not a Mirage clone, and that's where he's at. So, like, yeah. I think we should just move on to Bloodhound.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it to you.
Yeah.
Bloodhound, B tier. For you?
B tier.
All right, let's hear it.
Buffs. I mean, it's crazy. Like, Bloodhound at one point was like below C tier. They buffed him again and again and again. They buffed his ult way back when, and they made it so it lasted longer and that kills or downs extended the time. They made it so that his scan further. And now, again, it was like one scan at 35 seconds, 3 seconds, and now it's like 4 times the distance, or 3 times the distance of the scan it used to be. Lasts for 4 seconds, respawns like 20 or 25 seconds. And this is what I love about Bloodhound. He's actually one of my favorite characters. I was running with a Bloodhound the other day. It was actually Josh was running by Bloodhound. I was doing Bangalore, doing the good old Bang-Hound combo. And, like, going into a fight or a third-party situation and then scanning and having 4 seconds of knowing where everyone's at it's just so nice, bro. It's like a UAV. Like, it's just a UAV. And now that it comes back so much faster, like that 20 or 25 second mark, you can keep spanning that stuff. So now, 20 or 25 seconds in a gunfight might still be going on, right? You know, you do some damage, you gotta go somewhere to heal. So like before at 35 seconds, it was like my scan's only halfway there. But now when it's like I've got 5 seconds into my scan, okay, let's hold these doors for another 5 seconds and then hit that scan again and then go from there. So like the buffs that he received are so fantastic, and so I love playing with Bloodhounds because like my play style, get that scan is just awesome. The other thing though is when we're talking about what characters do for the team, versus what they do for themselves. Bloodhound switched. So most characters, their tactical ability is for themselves, and their ultimates for their team. We'll see this with like Pathfinder and Wraith, for example, and Loba, yes, and Watson. Watson's tactical's not for herself, but still. But Bangalore and Bloodhound to me both actually could be A. But Bloodhound's tactical is for the team. I mean, it's for himself, but the entire team gets to see where you're at for 4 seconds and that 3 radius. And man, that thing scans pretty far, dude. That thing scans pretty far. I was running through the pit and I was like, gosh, I did not realize how far this thing scans. Right now it's a little bugged. There's been a couple times where Josh's scans haven't picked up, and I don't know what it is, but it's like bugged right now where basically if someone's like within that 1x space of you, they don't get picked up. This happened like 3 or 4 times to us when we've played, where his Bloodhound scan hasn't picked people up when they're like right next to us. So they need to fix that. But other than that, I love him. I think his ult's still like, it's not bad. I think it's good. I mean, you're basically getting digital threat with Octane movement speed for like 30 seconds. So his ultimate's good. It definitely helps you win in gunfights. The only problem with his ultimate is like, my God, like sound the trumpets and announce to the entire canyon, come third party us, please. Like that thing is so loud.
Or run away. Yeah. Or like beware, they're in the area.
Yeah, like jeez man, like so if they could just like nerf the audio cue. If they could nerf the audio cue of the audio of his ultimate and fix that bug with not picking up the scans consistently, he'd be an A tier character for me personally with how I like to play. So he's right there he's right there at top B plus, A minus tier for me. I love what they've done with Bloodhound. So
yeah, so Bloodhound, a lot of good quality of life changes. In my opinion, his scan needs to be reduced and cooled down again. I'd say this thing probably needs to be 15 seconds to just be a true menace and pain, because
oh my God.
Here's the thing, he's the only character in the game whose passive doesn't do anything. Like, at all. Like, you can basically justify that he has the worst passive in the game and it's not close. And, like, I don't know how to buff that passive beyond what it already is. And I think that his scan is his best contribution to the team. There are other team, like Crypto's scan is clearly better than his.
Well, in some ways.
I mean, in more ways, because he doesn't. For starters, it is anything that's in front, so he can like look down, and that's basically like he can position the drone over an area and look down.
Yeah, but you couldn't like see people through buildings, and there's no windows.
That's true.
And you also have to like be in control of the drone, send it out, and the drone can get shot down.
But here's the thing that I'd say that's the difference between Crypto and him. He wouldn't have to physically put himself in a dangerous situation to find people. Bloodhound has to still travel to a certain distance and location. The distance the drone can travel is 200 meters. His scan is 60, which means the drone can scan an area triple the distance. Even if that's the case, you don't scan people, you can still see and ping people with the thing. So like, if I ping an enemy, that red marker actually pops up on the enemy. That's just the same thing as marking people. The whole team can see that through the wall. So like, you know that they're all there. The other thing is Bloodhound's like his ultimate is her ultimate is good, but she kind of needs like, I don't know.
It's a her?
Yeah, Bloodhound's a girl.
But the voice
is a girl. That's a girl. Yeah. Have you seen that? You've seen the old ways.
Yeah.
Bloodhound's a girl. She's the transgender.
Older. Oh, is she transgender?
She is transgender.
So is she transgender to guy?
I have no idea. I just know that Bloodhound's lore is transgender. But like,
because the voice now sounds like a guy.
It's a girl.
Like as an adult.
It's a girl.
Alright.
She, though, Bloodhound, she needs to like, her self-buffing herself, she's good. She just needs that extra scan decrease to like make her really, really strong, in my view. And like, that would project her upward, but her passive needs reworked or something. Like, it's not helpful that I can see where people were 60 seconds ago. Like I'm sorry, even 5 seconds ago. That doesn't help me. It I know there might be people nearby. But we can hear the gunfire. That's why we're running over here in the first place. And don't even get me started about that ultimate. That ultimate has got to be the loudest. That I could get hit in the head with a Kraber bullet, and it wouldn't be as loud as. It's just that ultimate is just signaling to the entire enemy team. Like, let's say I saw a Caustic, and the Caustic shot at me, and then Bloodhound ulted. Well, there's at least another one here, right? You know, it's so bad in that regard, and yeah. So just a couple of quality of life changes, and she's spot on where she needs to be. But other than that, not much more to say.
No, she's solid.
Do you have any? That's it for my B tier.
That's it for your B tier?
Yep. Do you have anyone else?
Yeah, I got. Well, we talked about Revenant.
Yep.
Talked about Bloodhound.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one more. Loba.
Okay.
I got one more. So this can transition to A then.
Yep. This will be your final B into my transition to A.
Yeah. So I've got Loba in B tier. So starting off, her tactical ability I think is very solid in some ways. In some ways it needs buffed. So being able to yeet yourself basically, so if you're hiding behind, you slide down. So you use your movement to disengage, or use your movement to disengage. You slide down somewhere, you hide somewhere, and then instead of taking that time to heal at that spot because you're about to get pushed, you yeet your bracelet somewhere. I think she's fantastic, and that situation's better than a grapple, because if you try to grapple, one, you need somewhere to grapple to, and depending upon terrain, you may not be able to grapple that far. Mm-hmm. Two, you can still get shot while you're grappling. Mm-hmm. So in that situation, it's better than a grapple. Now, if you're caught in the open and you try to do some stuff, I'd rather have a good grappler, right? If you're caught in the open, because her bracelet animation is just very slow with the animation itself of throwing. Now you can drop yourself. You don't have to wait for it necessarily to land. You can drop yourself, and so that has helped. So in some ways, in some situations, I think that bracelet's very good. Where her bracelet's really bad at is what I want them to. If they did this, she'd be A tier for me, because I think it'd be fantastic. I think they should do this. I'm so sick and tired of her animation of when she comes out of bracelet, out of tactical. So the fact that she has to take a whole second to literally look at her bracelet and put it back on, why are you looking at your bracelet? You know what it is. You own it. I don't need to see a whole second of you, oh, my bracelet, where does this go? No, a Pathfinder can grapple on you, instantly shoot you while he's in the air if he wanted to, and while he's landing, he can grapple and freaking shoot you instantly. An Octane takes his jump pad and can shoot you while he's flying through the air. A Wraith, as soon as she comes out of Q, if she Qs through gas or smoke or whatever, can instantly shoot you. A Bangalore, while she's getting double time through her smoke, she's got additional threat. Oh my god, Lord save the Queen, can shoot you. Why do I need Loba taking the whole second to freaking put on, part of what Loba is so good at is, okay, here's a building they're holed up in. You guys put fire on this building and made their door and distract them. I'm going to yeet my bracelet through this cracked window here. Those little bar windows they have. I'm going to throw my bracelet through this window. And I'm going to do DPS on them. And I'm going to shoot them and do damage on them. And get them all to focus on me. And then you guys come and break through the door and we're going to win the gunfight. That's great. And against lower skilled players. And against just pubs or lower level rank, that works great. But I have seen multiple Lobas just get freaking melted when they try to do this play, because they yeet themselves into the door, and then they have to literally look at the person they're about to shoot and say, oh, hold on 1 second, dear sir, and put the bracelet on, and the entire team just melts them. And once you throw in your bracelet, you don't have any disengagement except for your movement, right? You don't have a second smoke. You don't have any other disengagement. You don't have an alt that gives you any disengagement. What are you going to put down your freaking alt right here and no? So if they need to remove that animation. It would not be too strong or broken. It would be probably at that point the second best movement tactical in the game, in my opinion, outside Race Q, because I still think Race Q is a get out of jail free card. But there's still great things you can do with the grapple. There's still great things you can do with the Q. They're just different things. All those movement offer you different things. The grapple offers you something different and unique. The Q's something different and unique. It's a get out of jail free card. They're different things. This would give you something unique and different with pushing ability that no other character would have in the game. And when we get to this character, of how strong characters like Watson or Caustic are right now, if you yeeted yourself into a building anyways, and instead of a Caustic traps, you could still be dead. Like, you could still be screwed. So if you unknowingly do it, you could still be dead. So there's still a level of skill of knowing what characters are in that building, knowing what's in that building, knowing that trusting your teammates are going to have your back when you do it. So, like, remove the bracelet animation, and they did that. Great tactical ability. Her ultimate is good and not good. It doesn't add any necessarily, like, DPS. It is great for early game situations, like I've talked about, landing at a charged tower and then literally just grabbing stuff. It's a lifesaver in third-party situations. If you literally have done a crap ton of damage and you're getting third-party and you need to run into a building real fast, right? You need to run into a building real fast. If you have a good Loba or a smart Loba who's already put like their station there, or puts their station there like real quick, or is like the first one to realize that she knows what she needs to do, you don't need to go out and loot in King's Canyon and get third party or fourth party. You can run into that building, throw your caustic traps everywhere, which I keep bringing up a lot, and there's a reason for that, and throw your caustic traps everywhere, put that Loba down, and instantly all three of you can shield swap and take the shields of the death boxes you just killed, and that right there can be the difference between dying or surviving. So her ultimate is God tier, but only in a select couple of ways that it's used, if that makes sense. It's not like God tier in basically any scenario you need it to be, like Wraith's Portal. Like, well, you can usually, like, Wraith's Portal is still the best ultimate in the game. Or God tier in, like, a lot of scenarios, which, like, Caustic's ult, because it can be both offensive or defensive. But it's still great. The other thing, I didn't realize this, and this is a big one. This is a big one, not for the level that we play at, on like console, you know, highish ranked, but for like scrims, I don't think anyone will use Loba. Her bracelet gets destroyed by Watson ults. That's like for us, like I'm playing like even in like high, like Diamond 2, Diamond 3 when you're playing against like Predator lobbies, a lot of people don't run Watson because like she's boring. Like she has no offensive stuff. You have to camp in a building. It's boring. Okay, I hate it. But like, so a lot of people don't run her. But when you're playing in tournaments or high level scrim, every team's running a Watson. Bro, if your bracelet gets shot down, like what are you gonna do? Like you can't use her the way I'm talking about with wanting to push a team. And God knows the last thing I would want is to throw my bracelet and some random Watson ult I didn't even know was there from a fourth team that's only got one Watson left that's about to die, shoots my freaking bracelet out of the air, and now I'm screwed. So those are my thoughts on Loba.
So I'm gonna move into the A tier. We're gonna like have a small probably swap between A and B tier here because there's a character I do have in B tier that I think you have in A tier. It's Bangalore. So I'm gonna just talk about Loba since we're continuing on it. Loba to me is A tier or high A tier. She is borderline S in my opinion, and that's probably something he's going to disagree with. A lot of people watching this video disagree with, but just hear me out. These are the things that I value in any kind of shooter. The first is mobility. She has the best solo mobility in the game, vertically and moving across space. Okay? The difference between her and Wraith, I totally understand why you prefer Wraith, because it is a get out of jail free card. The problem is that if you're using Loba in that situation, and this applies to almost every legend in the game, that's not her job. It's not her job to be in a position to use the bracelet and get out of jail free card. It is a flanking maneuver, it is a position taking maneuver, and it is a disengagement maneuver. Okay? All three of those situations, she is better than Wraith at. Except for in a Gothic trap or if a Watson ultimate is around. But, you know, we can talk about that, I'll talk about that in a second. The ability for her to move 70 meters instantly over a second or two time span is insane. I cannot there like to put this into perspective for you. Pathfinder would have to grapple on the ground, jump in on his grapple, land, and slide, and he still will not be 70 meters. The Wraith's Q does not last 70 meters. It's like maybe 45.
No, it's not that long.
It's not. I wouldn't even think it's that long.
Wraith's Q lasts 2 seconds right now, I think.
Yeah, so it's not 70 meters. There's no, she wouldn't cover 70 meters.
It might be 3, but it's either way, 3 seconds. You're not running 70 meters in 3 seconds.
Yeah, that distance covered is absurd. Like, I mean, 70 meters, and here's the thing, and this is where I do disagree with him, and I think that she needs to have the cooldown. We can talk about reducing the cooldown of it, but it needs to stay that way. Because if you did give her an instant, I can shoot you exit, and I'll talk about the equivalent for the other mobility characters in a second. Her mobility as a solo character would be too powerful. I mean, you'd have a character who would instantly teleport somewhere and shoot right off of spawn. Which, like, there are situations. The thing is that you have to give people the ability to react. So, like, if she teleports behind me and I hear that, but it doesn't matter because she's already shooting me in the back. That's not fair to me, and I think that's a little bit too powerful. What I do think, though, that people who say what Nate said, and I'm not like, you know, I agree that it is a tad long. It feels long because an entire second to stand there and say, "Hi, please don't shoot me while I put this back on." It feels that way. But here's the thing. A lot of other characters, like Pathfinder and Wraith, for example, to their mobility, have startup. The only one who doesn't is Octane, and we've already talked about all the reasons why that's bad already, right? He's a C tier character because of his mobility and how bad it is. But the startup, okay, so like Wraith's Q has a startup of like 0.65 seconds. That's only 0.45 seconds off from the same thing. Also, you can...
I think that's her portal.
No, it's her... her Q has a startup. Yeah. Like, for her to grab, it's like 0.65 seconds or something like that.
Okay.
Pathfinder's grapple, as he said, it has to go out, it has to hit something.
Yeah.
He has to connect. He can still be shot the entire time, and to top it off, he has to, like, maneuver correctly. And bad path zips all the time get Pathfinders killed. Octane kills himself. So, I mean, come on. So what we're dealing with is a mobility character that doesn't deal damage to themselves, and if we did that, she'd have mobility for free other than waiting for the bracelet to drop. Now, here's the other thing that's fair about that, is that in open space, it's pretty bad. And it has to have weaknesses. Like, it can't just be good in all areas. So my thing is this. Her best attributes are flanking and maneuvers, punishing bad reses. Like Loba is the ultimate person. You think you're in a building safe and you're going to get it off. She is the one person you cannot do that to. She'll just throw her bracelet in the building and make you stop resing on the spot. The animation time between you getting up and me putting the bracelet on, we're even.
She'd be so good on World's Edge.
Yeah, she would be. Here's the other thing, and this is something we haven't talked about. Loba on World's Edge would be ridiculous. Especially for looting, because her ult would reach through all 4 floors of a building from the top at safety without ever having to go down there. How many times have like a Watson like fenced the top area? A fight has occurred. Multiple fights have occurred down below in the bottom building, and Loba sets her ult on the top part of a building, on the top part of like where you zip up. And she has access to all the loot all the way down the floor. You can immediately go down there in third party after stealing loot from a team fight. Yeah. Like, that would be, that's locked down by a Watson. That would be ridiculous. And we don't see that because all these buildings on Kings Canyon are one-dimensional and flat. So basically, her ult is only reaching wherever the radius is in full diameter of her ultimate ability. Which I thought to myself, well, maybe they should like 1.5 or double times the size. But then it occurred to me that like the verticality is the real winner of her ult, which is another reason why she's, in my opinion, an A-tier character. She offers what no other character does, and this is looting in true safety. Like even Gibraltar, Okay? Let's say that, like, Gibraltar throws a gun, his dome shield, which has been nerfed. He throws a dome shield over loot. There's one problem with that. Okay? An enemy team gets to now push you for free. And a lot of people don't think about it this way, but you can't shoot them while they're running at you. And them stopping you from looting is what they want to do in the first place. So if you stop looting to go shoot them, yeah, you get to loot, but here's the thing. You have to put yourself outside in a bad position to do that. Loba's the only character in the game where you get to loot from safety. And this has happened several times. Coupled with a caustic, which you're not pushing a caustic lockdown building anyway. That is one of the safest ways to loot in the game. 2 items. Shield, ammo, go. Right? And like that is nuts. And here's the thing. I've watched Lobas and steal Krabers out of a care package from people who are like in the area, obviously, but she didn't even have to be there. They just open it, mine. Thanks. Sorry. Have a nice day. Shoots them and kills them with a Kraber. Like that ultimate ability, the black market, is so good. And here's the other thing. You can use it as an enemy team, which like is great because basically you get access to their Lobas black market, you get access to your black market, that's like 4 items.
Well, that's why you also want to make sure you destroy your own or take it down.
Yep.
When you're done using yours.
And you can it also can be countered by destroying it as well. This is also something that I need to talk about with the early game. Her ability to see high tier loot through objects is a little too broken. Like, number one, in early game, it allows her to identify where she needs to go right away, whereas no other character who's not playing, nobody else not playing Loba doesn't get to have anywhere near that advantage. The distance at which she can see them is a little far too. It's like kind of good. It's like really kind of good. I can tell somebody, hey, there's purple shield in that bin, and ping it for them, and then cover them without us having to walk over and find it. Like, that's knowledge and advantage that nobody else has over anybody else in the game. That to me is why Loba's an A-tier. I mean, like, out the box, she has the complete package. She has team assistance. She provides something unique and support to a team. She can, like, and this is the other big part. I can't tell you how often I've used Loba's black market to just get heals. Like, I'll take that battery, I'll take that med kit, I'm just good to go. I play Lifeline anyway, so I'm fast healing, and we'll talk about Lifeline in a second, because god dang, this season, holy crap. I thought, yeah, I'll talk about that in a second, but like, her ability to get the entire team heals, I have taken things, so like, let's say, this is another crazy scenario. I've been Loba, and I've put my ult down, and I've grabbed heals or ammo for a team member who is away from the black market or in a gunfight and they need something. I can't express how good this character is. She is not ever going to be an S tier character. And the way she is countered, it is very unfortunate that Watson's ult destroys her bracelet. It really is. I mean, I guess it had to have a weakness somehow, but like, everything she does, it's very unique. No other character has it, and the ways that she adds support to a team, nobody can touch. The only downside is the ability to track the bracelet. That crap, I mean, again, you have to, it's brain knowledge. You have to know how to play the character. You can't just throw it on top of a group. They will, as he said, phaser's locked. Yeah. And so, like, to me, Loba is a character you have to just know how to play. You just have to know. You have to understand the situation. And she rewards that greatly. She rewards a push where she needs to disengage and you can throw it to a rock. I mean, she rewards being able to just disengage. I mean, I've been shot out and covered, dashed behind a rock, thrown it all the way to the building. I've used Loba's bracelet to travel from building to building, knowing that there is a team, up looking down on us. That's free travel. That's crazy. So, she checks all the marks in my book for an A-tier character. And it's just that her ability is that powerful, and that's why. So, let's move into A-tier for you. Let's talk about Bang next.
Okay, yeah, Bangalore. I got Bangalore and A. I think she's the most underrated character in the entire game. So we talk about a lot of characters. We talk about personal ability, what they can do for themselves with being able to win gunfights. So gunfights, being able to win those gunfights. Disengagement, how well you can disengage from gunfights. Re-engagement, how fast or how well you can re-engage into the gunfight you just disengaged from. This is why, and what she adds to the team. And all these things is what made Pathfinder S tier for so long when he had the 15-second sorry, still hurts a little bit. When he had the 15-second grapple, what made him S tier for so long is that you could grapple into a gunfight, shoot, grapple out, heal, grapple back all in, 3 grapples in the same gunfight, and do everything. And then, gosh, just passive and zipline. Oh man, but with Bangalore, when we're talking about traveling from building to building, like you're talking about with Loba, her double time is extremely underrated. Like I don't know what the buff is statistically for movement
25%.
speed. 25%. So I think Octane is 30%. I'm pretty sure. Is Octane 30%? No, it's Bloodhound's alt is 30%.
No, he's 30.
So Octane's 30?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're moving almost as fast as Octane when that double time's active. And I kid you not, I've had double time activate 3 or 4 times in the same gunfight. When I'm like fighting a team, I've had double time activate 3 or 4 times when I'm fighting that team. I'm not sure what the timer is for how fast it resets, but I know how it activates. It's if a bullet narrowly misses you. So
Or a grenade.
Or a grenade, yes, which I've also seen where I've seen someone purposefully dodge, go close to a grenade and dodge it so they'd activate double time and then go and push with double time active. But double time is just fantastic, man. Like double time wingman, you literally don't get hit. So moving from building to building, having double time is fantastic. Couple that with smoke, you not just being able to smoke. A lot of people use the smoke in the wrong way. If you're sprinting somewhere, you're not going to like do it right where you're at because you're just going to run past it. So like smoking kind of like halfway there and then allowing the smoke to form and then running through that smoke or running behind that smoke. And then also they're probably going to shoot through the smoke, which means they're going to activate double time. And then also being able to smoke where a team's at. So like in Capital City, World's Edge, it wasn't like, it was a little bit more iffy because since there's multiple levels to high ground and multiple entry points, like if someone's up on like story 4 and you just pop a smoke, there'd still be like windows or like points of view they could get on high ground still to look at you while you're trying to transition. But on King's Canyon, it's not like that. It's a lot of more like there's not as many as like variety of anchor points at a specific location. So if you're like in a building or you're on this like high ground up here, and I get that smoke through that window in that building or on that high ground to then cover that smoke to cover where you're at, you can't see us. So now we have free transition to wherever we need to go because that smoke is big and that smoke is thick. Now granted, there's a huge weakness with that strategy, which is the Watson ult, because it destroys Bangalore smoke, so they have a Watson that's just going to eat your Bangalore smoke, so that strategy doesn't work there. Another thing with Bangalore smoke, great for revives, probably the 3rd best reviver in the game. It's not just great with revives, but there's been times before where I've had a teammate who might be trying to heal behind a corner, and I can smoke my teammates or smoke around my teammate to them from distance to help give them time while they're healing. Like, okay, we're in a gunfight, and someone's healing like behind a small rock, and I can smoke my teammate at that rock and thus basically make that rock larger. Because if you're trying to hide behind that rock and they even see just a little bit of you, they're going to grenade. But now if I can smoke you, it's going to be a lot harder for them to be able to do that. You can get your res off better. So it helps great with reses. This is an insanely strong pushing ability when you have a digital threat. Being able to smoke, again, in King's Canyon, when World's Edge, you have verticality. So if you go into a room and you smoke, they can just take a zip line up. But going into where there's just like one level on a room or something and smoking that room or smoking that building or that area and then being able to digital threat through it, you will absolutely shred people and they will have no idea what's going on. They will panic, they will scatter, and it is a great pushing ability. And the fact that I believe this responds in 25 or 30 seconds and you have 2 of them, you have 2 smokes, is insanely strong as well. So her tactical and her passive are both 8S tier with me. Her ultimate is a little underwhelming.
It's a D tier ultimate.
Her ultimate's a little underwhelming.
So bad.
The thing I will say that's good about it is that it stuns you for a very long time.
If you get hit by
If you get hit by her ultimate, you're stunned for like 5 to 10 seconds. So people don't want to get hit by that in Kings Canyon, especially because, again, more open space, not as many buildings, more third parties.
Mm-hmm.
So the damage on, like, it's good in the way you have to use it, kind of what you're talking about with Loba. You're not going to use it on, here's a team here, I want to do DPS, I'm going to give you ult. This is going to be I'm taking this fight, there's a team over here that might push us, or there's an area over here that I want to block off, or I want to get this team off of high ground, I'm going to use my ult. It is a position control, building a wall funnel. It is basically a way to turn the terrain of the map and change it into a more preferred situation for what you're attempting to do in that moment for 10 to 15 seconds. Because people will not just run through that crap. You get stunned by it, you are stunned for like 10 seconds, and it is awful. You are dead, or you are basically 10 seconds stunned, I'm just going to take a battery, and then you're dead. So either way, in endgame circles, again, if they don't have a Watson ult, endgame circles, it's basically a death sentence. It's almost as good as a Casa gas trap in some ways because Casa can't counter it. So if it's endgame circle, you throw a Bangalore ult, and there's no building, they are literally dead. You've really won the game. The only bad thing about it is it also stuns you and your teammates. So that's pretty significant for why it's not as strong as it could be. So what I would like to see them do is the same thing they did with the Cossack, where the gas no longer affects teammates. Give the same love to Bangalore. Make it so her ultimate no longer stuns teammates. So with all that said, I have her at A tier.
So Bangalore for me is the girl that I love to hate in this game. She is high B tier to me, almost A tier. For all the reasons you talked about the smoke, and just to reiterate, I love that you can push with a digital threat. That is an insane combo. Her plus Bloodhound and Crypto is insane as well. People generally misuse her smoke. They think that it is a get out of jail free card with her double time, and that's true. But a lot of people think that that's all that it is. It is also an insane pushing tool. It is a good counter sniping tool. It says have the 4 to 10 scope or nothing. Sorry, and it is rewarding people for having a digital threat, and it's also punishing them for not having one, which most guns in the game can't use it. So it's like, what's the point? Her tactical ability is nuts. Like he was talking about, the ability to move 20 anytime I'm a huge fan of mobility in small bursts and controlled okay bursts. Like Black Ops 3 was an example of horrible mobility to me. That's just mobility just taken to the nth degree. But
you hate Titanfall then?
Oh yeah. Well, Titanfall had Titans in it, so that was my problem with Titanfall. But here with her foot speed, movement speed, it's really insane. It's really good. Her smoke can be used in a variety of ways. It is, in my opinion, the third best res in the game. And she is the all around best character until you get to her ultimate, and this is why she's in B tier to me. That ultimate is right next to Revenant's and how horrible it is in my view. It takes forever to come down. It is obvious when it does. There is this red smoke grenade just chilling on the ground. And I can look at that thing for a second before the rockets start coming down. And I can run in the opposite direction and never have to worry about it. It's almost not serious. Let me tell you, I had a ranked game the other day. I pushed through a thermite grenade and her ultimate. I got hit by both of them to down somebody. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for a Loba sitting up on top of a rock somewhere with a Kraber. Okay? That ultimate is not respectable in the slightest. It's almost not even respectable when it hits me. Right? Because they have to be in a position to do something. Oh wait, they can't because her ult also hurts the team and herself. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, congrats. What are you gonna do? Come in here and get hurt with me? Can you just imagine if Caustic's gas just stunned teammates in the middle of it? No, nobody's walking into that. like your teammates caustic gas stunned you. Yeah, that's basically everybody who can see you that's outside of it being like, oh look, a turkey shoot's just occurred right in front of me. The entire team decided to stand still all at once. And like, you get lasered. It's terrible. It takes forever to come down. That ult, in total, right? In total, lasts like 12 seconds. 12 seconds. That is eternity, okay? Loba could have moved 140 meters with her bracelet if she had 2 charges. And, like, before her ult is even done. That is how long that... Like, I can't... This is the thing. And it's only good in open space. And it's not even the best or a good ult in open space for the reasons I've outlined. It is, like, one of the most counterproductive, in my view, ults in the game, attempting to control space. There's only a select few situations in which it's good. And in those situations, it's strong. End circles. It covers a lot of ground, so you don't have to worry about positioning it properly. Or choke points. You don't have to worry about that as well. Every other scenario, like, you're not throwing it down, so like Gibraltar punishes a res. By the time like Bangalore could throw her ult to punish a res at distance, and that team is picked up and gone before it even blows up. Yeah. Like, I can't even express how terrible that ultimate is. And this is the thing: if your ultimate is bad, I can't put you higher than your other abilities on carrier. Thankfully for this character, all of her other abilities are like A to S tier. All of them are. But this ultimate is the next thing that must be reworked in the game. I thought it was Lifeline till this season actually started, and they brought back charge stations. But like, that character must be reworked. And this is what I suggest. You make her ult a stealth bomber. Okay? An airstrike that just levels the playing field and like stuns anybody it hits, and it does like 85 freaking damage per rocket hit, and it hits in a controlled area and multiple rockets can hit you. That's the other thing about it. For all the rockets that come down, like, the odds that you get hit by 2 of those things is zilch. You can only get hit by like 1. Like, and that's standing in between 2 of them. I can just be a little bit closer to 1 and not get hit by 1. Get hit by 1 but not the other. In open space. It's terrible. But like, it needs to be a stealth bomb. Like, she needs to call it, and there's like a 2-second time window before this plane comes overhead and just drops rockets over people, dealing significant damage and stunning people in a straight line. And here's why that's fair. Because it would do like maybe an 80 to 160 damage on a hit. Gibraltar's can literally just kill you if you stand in it. Like, fully kill you. Not just like knock you and kill you. Yeah. And to top it off, like, it would be in a straight line so you don't get hit by multiple. You'd have to be walking with the stealth bomber to continue to get hit by it. Has all the same properties. Remove the fact that it would stun teammates and all that. And it would be in a more controlled space, which means it doesn't have a wide area of effect. So you're nerfing it, but buffing it in all the ways that it needs to be. And like, it would fit, because what are you marking anyway? Where's the strikes coming from? A satellite in space? Why not just have it do the same dang thing? But like, give like a 2 second thing, and then plane comes in coming, boom, 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 and then flies off. That would be like so cool. But instead, we got what it is now, and for that, I have to put her at B tier. I want her. I love her. I really do. I mean, she knows I love her.
He's good.
But she's good. So
take a 5-minute break and come back for part 2.
That's fine with me. It's fine with me. All right, guys. That's it for this.
A and S tier coming up. That's the big stuff.
Yeah, that's the rest of A tier and S tier for us, guys. So thanks for sticking around this long, 2 hours and 18 minutes. And
we'll see you part 2 soon.
Yep, part 2.
All right, cool.